Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a very wet and windy afternoon. No sunset safari. This is Safari Live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another afternoon safari on Safari Live. My name is Tayla, and on camera this afternoon we've got Eggsy. Eggsy, give us a thumbs up. You may have seen that his thumb was purple, and that's because it is freezing this afternoon. It's not a sweltering, it's a chilly 60-degree Fahrenheit. So we haven't seen one thing yet, and we've been driving around looking for the birds, but I think everything has called it quits and gone in and hid for the covers. However, remember I was saying this morning, positive vibes, so we're going to keep on thinking positively, and we're hopefully going to try and find some elephants this afternoon. It's not as windy as what it was this morning, so yes, there is some hope, and hopefully a few birds. I'm always on the lookout for some of those little creatures like the amphibians, like the tortoises. That's what we're hoping is going to come out, but possibly this chilliness is going to keep them away. So let us bumble on ahead, and hopefully we will locate something. The bush isn't thick enough for the animals to hide that well, so hopefully even if we do find something, it will be a little glimpse. And we are hoping that it decides to rain again. As you can see, it's drizzling a little bit and the clouds are thickening up. They have definitely dropped since this morning's game drive. And remember, everybody, we are live, so if you'd like to interact with myself or Jamie when she comes through and says hello a little bit later, you're welcome to either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can also send us an email, and you can send that email to questions@wildearth.tv. Eggsy, what did you spot? Was it a bird? Oh, it's a waterbuck. There's a few of them. Let's find a nice little gap, but they are in the thicket, like I was just telling you about. I think we may have a gap over here. Do we have a gap? We have a gap. I think gaps are going to be very important this afternoon. Here we go. You can see one very fluffed up waterbuck. Hello. Where's the rest of your gang? They're blending in so well now that it's hard to tell which part is waterbuck and which part is actually a tree. But I think if I were to be an antelope, I think I'd like to go and be a waterbuck, seeing as they have the shaggiest coats out in this part of Africa. So we are situated at the moment on Djuma Private Game Reserve, which is in the Sabi Sands of South Africa. There we go. You can see another one has finally popped out, and that one really is hiding away quite well. We haven't really been seeing too many big male waterbucks. They seem to have moved out of the breeding herds and gone on their own. So they've obviously come through already and competed against other males for the rights to mate with a particular breeding herds. So it'll be quite nice to see a few boys as well. That could be some variety for this afternoon. Maybe we can add that to our wish list. A big male waterbuck and perhaps a big male kudu. Though I haven't been seeing too many of the big kudu over the last few days. There you go, just munching through, and oh boy, are they going to be excited that possibly the drought is over. We had quite a bit of rain since about 10:30 last night, and it's been on and off the whole day, and hopefully we get a bit more rain this evening. And remember, I was saying this morning that every day we're going to pop past quarantine open area, and we're going to spend a few moments and we're going to take a screenshot, and we're going to do that for the next few days just so you can see how it changes every day. Maybe we can even do it in the afternoon as well as in the morning, and it'll be nice to see that lovely lush green carpet of grass that will eventually start coming through. And Jamie and I were discussing just before safari how even though this weather probably isn't the best to see some of the herbivores, it's actually really good hunting weather. Now we know this morning that we saw the Nkahumas with two of the Birmingham boys on a buffalo kill, so we know that the thunder and the lightning didn't stop them last night. They carried on and pushed through the nasty weather, and it's quite good, I suppose, because there's a lot of noise, especially when there's quite a bit of wind around. We always say that wind muffles sound. Sometimes it does that with our mics as well, as I'm sure you've heard over the last few days, or occasionally when it does get very, very windy. And that obviously works to a predator's benefit. Now, I'm surprised that these waterbuck haven't got their heads perked up a little bit more and just looking over their shoulder. Oh, the drongo gave that one a fright because of the wind. Like I said, it's muffling sound. So if I was them, I would be super cautious on a windy day, just making sure that there's nothing sneaking up on me. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can get another shot of that fork-tailed drongo. I'm going to go forward a little bit. Oh, now he's flown again. Let's see. Can you see him in there, Eggsy? So, where that waterbuck that we were just looking at, you go towards her, then I can guide you in, because it is hard to see. Can you see the drongo? A bit more to the right. And if you go straight in, you see it? Let me go forward again. Sorry everyone, it seems to have hopped ahead. Oh, there it just flew. Okay, never mind. The drongo does not want to be seen this afternoon, but hopefully we'll be able to find another drongo for you, and then I can tell you a little bit more about them. Let's carry on. Good start in this weather to find a few little waterbuck. So possibly it only gets better from here. Very grey and miserable today. Oh, hello. There's people coming out on safari already. It's nice to see that the guests who have travelled from far and wide haven't left this miserable weather put them off. Like I said, you'll be surprised sometimes how these miserable days can turn around and you can end up having an incredible sighting. Also, because it's nice and cool this afternoon, I wouldn't think that some of the cats would maybe be sleeping. It's a good opportunity for them to move around during the day when they're normally resting on those really hot summer's days. So maybe a leopard or two is taking full advantage of this. So we'll also maybe try and have a look and see if we can't pick up on any leopard tracks. It hasn't rained too hard, so if anything was moving around during the drives, we could possibly see their tracks coming across the road. It's just now that it's started to drizzle a little bit more, and it seems to have held off for a bit, so let's keep our fingers crossed. Good afternoon, Rebecca. So Rebecca, sorry, I just thought I saw something over in the distance. It wasn't anything. Hello again. So Rebecca from New York would like to know how much rain we received as of last night. So far we're on 36 mils to be exact, and hopefully we could get that amount again this evening. I'm really hoping though that the rain does hold off while we're driving around, and then once we get back to the lodge this evening, it's welcome. The rain is most welcome, and it can pour down as much as it likes, because I will be sheltered and nice and warm. And also we don't want any of the camera equipment to get wet. And also I don't want to cut the drive short for all of you, because I know that some of you tune in especially just to watch us every afternoon and every morning. But let's go a little bit further. We're going to just take one of the cut lines, Russell's hook cut line to be exact, just to see if anything has walked on in. The road is quite nice. Sorry everybody. The road is quite nice and sandy. Oh, I need to do something for 2 seconds. I've come unplugged again, everybody. Sorry. My mic fell off. It's not good. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better now, and hopefully it decides to stay there. So you'll see while we're driving how the color completely changes from sort of dark grays of the soil to this very, very sandy yellow color. So there won't be a lot of water on this road, which is great, and hopefully it will leave good indentations of whatever's been walking around while we have been back at the DRC. Goodness. If you look over there, you can actually see how the clouds are all rolling in, and I think in a moment we won't be able to see very much at all. Radio. I was hoping that the termites would have started coming out of their mounds, but I think on account of the chilly temperature they may be holding back to a warmer evening. Here we go. You can actually see quite a bit of water here on the side of the road. So here are some nice big puddles, which is fantastic. Just to give you an indication of how much rain. Everybody, as we're driving sort of into the wind, and like I said, it's spitting a little bit, so Eggsy just needs to very quickly clean the lens so you all have a clear view of what's going on. Squeaky clean, rub-a-dub-dub. There we go. How's that? I think you can all see a little bit better now. I'm sure a few of you were probably rubbing your eyes thinking that it was possibly you. Don't worry, nothing wrong with your eyesight. We're going to be probably doing this quite a few times throughout the show, so I must apologize on behalf. But they haven't quite invented little windscreen wipers yet for the lenses on cameras. There's a business opportunity for anybody. I think I need... Sorry, excuse me. Now the wind has actually picked up quite a bit. Woo. Good afternoon, Canada Keith. It's lovely to hear from you on this, feels like a winter's day. And Keith wants to challenge us, so Eggsy, we've got a challenge ahead of us, to find 3 things that only happen after the rain. Now that could be a number of things. So one of the things that was requested this morning was African land snail. You normally see them just after we've had some rain, or seen some of the winged alates, the termites, which I was briefly explaining this morning as well. If you're watching the show, they could come out. Or to find the first frog or toad of the season. That would be really nice too. Those would be 3 ideal things that I would love to see. I'm not sure. Keith, Canada Keith, did you have anything in mind in particular that you could possibly let us know? Remember everybody, we are live, and if you'd like to interact with us, you're welcome to either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can even send us an email, and that address is questions@wildearth.tv. Wait, a little bump there. So I haven't seen any tracks coming in just yet, which is a bit disappointing. Actually, I just want to go back. I don't know if I perhaps saw a green blade of grass. How exciting would that be? I don't think it would have been green like this from now, but possibly there was a little downpour. Now, I don't know if you can zoom in here, easy, just to show how the grass over here is slightly greener. If you just find a little piece. So from the normal browns that we've been seeing, can you see that? How it's just a little bit green. Now, that isn't from now. Hang on, can you go to this one over here? There's a little bit where there's some green shoots. There we go. See that there? See that little bit of greenery that's showing, which is unusual because we've just been seeing different shades of brown and different shades of yellow. So as I was saying before, I lost my trail of thought, and I wanted to find you also a good example of what I was talking about, because I don't think it's from the rain now. That's happening too quick, I'm afraid. So maybe there was a bit of a sprinkle a few days ago, but you're going to see this happening all over at the moment. And the grass doesn't need very much rain. Even 5 mils of rain would bring out a carpet of lovely lush green grass. So imagine what it's going to do that we've had 36 mils of rain, and some areas even had 50 mils of rain, which is very exciting. Okay. I'm going to point something out to you. How funny is this? Look at that termite mound over there. Let me go back a little bit. Now we're going to zoom in. We just need to do a quick wipe so you can see quickly. Squeaky clean. Here we go. Look how that top of that chimney is starting to form there. Isn't that amazing? So the termite mounds seem to be the only thing that's around at the moment, and normally these these large fungus growing termites would have actually opened up those chimneys, but because it's so cold, you can see that it's closed it completely just to try and keep some insulation, keep it nice and warm in that mound. If I get to show you some termites, that'd be really amazing. But I'll just tell you a quick little bit about large fungus growing termites. They're my particular favorite species. And Eggsy, can you just show them the whole thing again? So what you're looking at, as Eggsy zooms out here, is actually only a third of the mound. 2/3 is actually below the surface. Can you believe that? So imagine how big it is. It's like an iceberg. And there are lots of different chambers that you'll find inside of this termite mound. Now, the name large fungus growing termite, as it suggests, they actually grow their own food. So what you'll do is they normally come out at night. They've got a very sensitive exoskeleton, so they don't like to work during the day under the hot African sun, though you may see them even working on a day like today when it is a little bit cooler. It is possible. But I think with this wind and this rain, everybody has moved indoors and is watching television or whatever termites do when it's raining. So right in the middle of that mound somewhere, I'm not sure how far up it is, they have a chamber called the fungus growing chamber. So the workers will go around in the evenings and they will collect all sorts of decomposing matter. So from the dead leaves to the grasses, from the dung, they'll collect it all and they'll take it back to the mound and take it into this chamber. Now this chamber is extremely hot. It's at a constant temperature of about 30 degrees Celsius with almost 100% humidity. So high humidity, high temperature, and it's essential that that mound that chamber stays at that constant temperature. And the reason for that is they start to chew on all the decomposing matter that they've brought out, all the dead leaves, also all the organic matter. They chew it and then they will defecate it out into a big pile, forming a compost heap. And those of you who know, if the conditions are right, or if you're mushroom farmers, you'll know on a compost heap, when there's a high humidity, you'll find that little fungus start to sprout from a compost heap. Am I right? And that's what those termites are feeding on, is they're not feeding on the leaves and the grasses. They are actually eating the fruiting body of the fungus. Isn't that amazing? Hopefully I'll be able to find some termites for you, and then I'll be able to show you the difference between the workers and the soldiers. But perhaps we'll have to leave that for a warmer day when they open up one of those big chimneys. Right, everybody? While I carry on trying to find us something to look at this afternoon, Jamie is finally up and running, and I know she would like to see all of your wonderful faces.
Good afternoon and welcome on another beautiful summer day here in the African bush. And by beautiful I mean that it's raining, which is of course truly beautiful. There you go, I found something for Tayla's list. Things that only happen after the rain. It's a millipede crossing the road in front of me very, very slowly. I would jump out and grab it and show you a little bit closer. I'm a little bit concerned about our microphone. Isn't it lovely? With the wave-like motions of its legs, I've never seen a millipede walk so slowly in my entire life. I think it's cold. Totally, completely harmless little creatures. We call them shongololos here in South Africa, which I think is the most wonderful name. And you know what? I'm going to try it, Dave. I'm going to try and get out. Do you think that's a risky decision? It's probably a risky decision. And just by the way, I haven't even introduced myself. I'm so excited by the weather that we're having. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon I have dazzling Dave on camera with me, and it is Dave's birthday, so at some point on the Sunset Safari we're going to be doing a rousing rendition across the globe of Happy Birthday for the second time. Did you enjoy your birthday, Dave? Poor Dave has been working on lots of things all day. He's been very, very busy on his birthday. Okay, let's risk it. I'm going to take my microphone and pick it up very gently, much like I'm going to do with a millipede. And I'm going to bring it right up to the camera for you. Here you go, little millipede and microphone. Stay. All good. We're managing. We move very slowly. Oh, shame. It really is cold. I've never seen a millipede walking so slowly. Come, little one. No? No? It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. There you go. See, it's warm here. It's warm on my hands. Well, maybe not, actually. How's that? Beautiful. A millipede to start off our rainy summer afternoon. Don't fall, don't fall. I can't catch you. I've got a microphone in my hands. And slowly turn around. There you go. Unlike their cousins, the centipedes, which as you know is my nemesis in the bush, the millipede is completely harmless. It is a vegetarian. And for the last few months, actually, they've been in what's known as estivation. So it's like our African equivalent of hibernation, where their metabolism slows down, but as a result of the dry weather rather than the wet weather. You're lovely. Okay, I'm going to put it on the ground now, because it's about to fall off my hand and I can't catch it with one hand. So I'm going to go release it onto the other side of the road so that it doesn't. This is near the fence, by the way, is a house. We've only just made it out of the DRC, which is our main camp. Here we go. Here you go, little buddy. Good luck on your journey. Okay. So we've ticked off one thing. No, let's try that again. Gently does it. We've ticked off one thing on the list of what happens after the rain. Now let's go find a tortoise, or a terrapin, or a frog. I heard a frog at DRC. Actually, I heard an olive toad. Let's be more accurate. Okay. Now we're on our way to the Nkuhumas. So if you are joining us for the first time on our Sunset Safari, a very warm welcome, even though it's a very chilly day here in the bush. Bye-bye, millipede. Good luck. And don't forget to send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@wildearth.tv. The Nkuhumas have been very, very busy last night. Perfect hunting weather, storming, windy, wet. We had an Nkuhuma lioness wandering towards us with a very bloody face, and it's still a mystery because Tayla was with the whole pride except for one lioness, who then came wandering along Philemon's cut line and went and joined the others, and I have no idea where she was, why she left the pride. She was one of the mothers, so maybe the littler cubs got left behind during the hunt, I don't know. Either way, it was most perplexing. So we're going to head there because the sighting is on a main road, which means essentially every single person in the northern Sabi sands can go there. But we have one advantage in that we get out earlier, and the early guide catches the lion sighting. So that's where we're heading on this lovely day. You're nice and warm on the back there, Dave. Oh yes. September likes to keep us guessing. Here, have a couple of 37-degree days in a row and then have a 10-degree day. Just in case you were starting to get used to one thing. How's the microphone? Is it holding up? Oh, good. See, it's going to be a wonderful afternoon. I'm very happy. I've been playing a game I started it on the sunrise safari this morning, and Tayla and myself continued it. Should I make life a bit easier for you there, Dave? Shame, poor Dave. Oh, lilac-breasted roller, you horrible creature. There we go. Poor Dave has to rummage beneath several rain covers and the skirt that's wrapped around the camera to try and move it. And we have one very cold, very windswept lilac-breasted roller. And we started playing a game this morning, and Tayla and I continued it after the drive. We had a great time and a jolly good laugh continuing this particular game. And it's called A Literal Reading of Bird Calls as per the Bird Book. Because whilst we know all of the calls and we often whistle them and sort of tell you what they are, 278, I still want to continue with it because it's thoroughly entertaining. So we know what they are, but the book has to write them in words, which is a difficult thing to do. So where is it? Ah, that's a letdown. Harsh squawks and screams like the Abyssinian roller. All right, well, let's go to the Abyssinian roller then. A raucous ah! You see? Raucous ah! When perched. Rack in flight and an intensifying ga 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 in aerial display. Right. The reason that I find this endlessly entertaining, first of all, is if you don't know what the bird sounds like, it's impossible to get it from that. And second of all, I'm just imagining the authors of these books sitting down and going, how should we describe the call of the Abyssinian roller? Ka, ka, ka. You get the idea. See, it's kept me thoroughly entertained. I'm challenging Tayla to do the same with every bird that she sees. Ah! Come on, Rusty, fight the wind. It's safe to say this wind is coming from the south. And I think it's bringing more rain with it. Peter's Machine, who is a new viewer. I've never heard that username before. Stick around, please, Peter Machine, because we're slowly making our way towards a lion sighting. He wants to know what the temperature is here. So I exaggerated slightly, but with the wind chill, it's much, much colder. But it's 16 degrees centigrade, which is, what was it? 60 Fahrenheit. Yes, 60 Fahrenheit. So there you go. That's what, I don't know where you're from, Peter's Machine, which particular part of the world, whether you work in Fahrenheit or Celsius. The intrepid team of WildEarth and Safari Live are out no matter what the weather, unless it's torrential rain. But we are out whatever the weather, and Tayla, true to her word, has found some termites.
Hello everybody. I may fall down the edge of this termite mound. It's very soft, as you can see, but I want you to have a look inside over here. Now, this section that you're looking at was obviously recently constructed. I'm not sure when, possibly maybe even from last night. It is very soft, and it looks like some of the soil has actually just been deposited, especially around this area there, a very small section of it. Now, I don't know if you, Eggsy, if you can zoom in on some of those termites in there. Can you see them? Those are actually the soldiers. Remember I was telling you? And these are the large fungus-growing termites. I haven't seen any workers, and obviously, whoa, I don't want to disturb, testing my ankle joints out this afternoon. I don't want to disturb too much of the mound. It's amazing how they're just sitting just on the edge over here. Like I said, normally that's what happens when they open up those big chimneys, is they will actually sit just on the edge, try and cool down. Now, I'm thinking I want to maybe climb up a little bit higher and see if I maybe can't have a look. Let's try this. It's going to be entertaining if I roll down. I'm sure that all the wonderful ladies in FC are egging me on that I go higher and higher. I'm going to just have a look. Did you see that? almost, I just touched it. I didn't even do anything. It is so soft. Now that's also because of all the rain that we've had, obviously, in the last 24 hours. Remember I was telling you about the winged alates, the princes and the princesses of the termites. And now you can see how lovely and soft the soil it is and how easy it would be for them to burrow down and start building their own colony. So let's just see. It'd be nice just to have a little look. Is anything home? No? And it's so soft I can pretty much build it. Let's have a look here. Everything's hiding away from me now. No. Where are you? Come on, Drew. We just want to see you a little bit better. Come out for us. I don't want to get pinched. I've made the mistake before. Here we go. Come out. Can you see them? Are they poking their heads out for you? Here they come. Look at the workers. Now you see what's happened is because I have disturbed the mound a little bit over there. They have now come rushing out to the entrance to see what's going on. So this is the first line of defense in a termite mound, are the soldiers. And it's quite difficult because they really are quite small. You can't really see their pincers too well, but they're really armed with little pincers in front. And I have been doing something similar before with guests, and I was actually showing them. And what happened is I put one on my hand thinking, my hands on the inside obviously are quite tough, unlike the rest of the part of your skin in your body. Well, I thought the pincers could never break the skin. I've never been so wrong in my entire life. One actually latched on right over here, and I started to bleed. And I did let out a little squeal, but I'm not going to do that for you today. I don't want to disturb them too much. So what's happening now is these soldiers are coming through, they're assessing the situation, seeing that there isn't a threat. They're not doing anything, they're not coming charging out at me. Normally they will try, and if it was an aardvark or an aardwolf or a pangolin or something along those lines that feed on termites, they'd come out and try and actually attack whatever is eating them. And the aardvark, for example, would start powering through this soft soil and start feeding on the termites. Now, what they'll do is once they've realized, okay, there's not really a threat here, they'll go back, they'll tell the workers, and I'm pretty sure as I start moving, if you waited a few hours, you'd actually see the workers come out and start repairing the mound. I'm going to leave these termites now. Now I need to try and navigate down this back, and fellies, which are my shoes, don't always have the best grip, but I did it, and I didn't fall. Right, now let me leave some of this mud behind and get back in again. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to do lots of cruiser cleaning. And let me plug my lifeline back in again. Where are you? Which one are you? This one. In we go. Right. There we go. I'm glad I saved myself the embarrassment of rolling down that termite mound, and I'm quite happy that we managed to see some termites too. So that's another thing I suppose we could tick it off the list. Not quite an alate or a prince or a princess, but something. Kitty Kitty Bang Bang would like to know, when the queen is hatched, does she lay all her eggs at once, or does it take some time? Now, Kitty Kitty Bang Bang, these alites, these flying ants that you may also know them, that I'm talking about, they all take some time for them to get their colony going. So I think once she has found a prince and they've burrowed down and she has established a chamber, which could take a few days, she will then start depositing eggs. Now, a queen can lay up to 10,000 eggs every single day. Isn't that amazing? And when something like an anteater, an aardvark, does come through and destroy the mound, the workers will come through and sort of communicate via pheromones, and they will tell them, right, in this raid we lost 3,000 soldiers and we lost 2,000 workers, and she will know how to change the eggs so that they are born into those particular roles, which is phenomenal. There's very, very little that we know about termites. I think we've only just scratched the surface, and everybody's worried about all sorts of things taking over the world. Remember, there's termites under the ground wherever you go. I'm a bit worried about them one day You'll just wake up and you'll be carried out and underground into a mound somewhere. When you've seen some of those massive mounds that we pass, and they're 2 meters high, and that's only 1/3 of the mound. Good afternoon, Christina. Christina wants to know what the larvae is called that glows at night, that live in the termite mounds, and well, basically what they're called. And if they're glowing at night, I'm pretty sure that it is the larvae of a firefly, if I'm not mistaken, and they're actually beetles, believe it or not. They belong in the Coleoptera family. So those larvae eat a variety of different things, so termites, and then remember I was talking about the snails too, African land snails. They absolutely love to eat those. But termites are food for a number of different animal species. Birds, reptiles, amphibians, even the mammals will all eat a termite, and sometimes even humans. I'm not brave enough, not with these big harvester termites and also the large fungus-growing termites. They're armed with serious pincers. However, I have eaten a snouted termite, which is very small, and they're quite tasty, I must say, if you ever get the opportunity to try some of the snouted termites. They've got a little snout that's armed on top of their nose, and they actually spray a formic acid, so they don't have the big pincers like the harvesters do and the fungus-growing termites do. They rely on a chemical defense, and they'll spray that into the eyes, into the nasal cavity, and that will cause an irritation to whatever's trying to eat them. But what I wanted to tell you is it actually gives them an interesting flavor, which is quite amazing. It sort of tastes like mint combined with a coriander. Now you probably think I'm crazy, but you can ask anybody that's guided down in the Eastern Cape, because that's the species of termite that we see down there, or anyone that's just tasted a snouted termite, and they're probably going to agree with me. But while I try and find some other interesting creatures this afternoon, let's head over to Jamie and see if she's got an update for you.
I do have an update for you. I have a very interesting update for you. The Nkuhumas have left their kill, and I don't know why. Now, Aubrey's just told me that there is a second kill that we missed this morning, just off Philemon's cut line, which would explain that lioness. So there we go. We've got an answer to one mystery. But the Nkuhumas have left their kill on Gowrie Main, and where have they gone from there, and why did they leave it? Apparently there's only vultures there. So now you can help me play Spot Aubrey. Aubrey. He says he's somewhere in here. Do I know where the weeping boerbean is? I do know where the weeping boerbean is. The weeping boerbean is there. Is that him there? No, that's a tree. I can just imagine Aubrey sitting in the bushes watching me drive past with great amusement. That's the weeping boerbean. Let me go back to where I saw his tracks go off the road. No, the mystery deepens. I don't know which lions are on this kill. I have no idea. Not the Nkuhumas, I don't think, but it must be the Birmingham male. And as I said, standing by. Okay, copy. Confirm you are south of Philemon's cut line. Copy, I see you. I thought you said north. Sorry. He must think I'm such an idiot. I could have sworn he said north. I think he did say north, actually. This is very confusing, because this is where the lioness went off the road. And what confuses me is if there was a kill here already, They must have made this during the day, because if there was a kill here already, she would not have gone past there without stopping to feed. I suppose cool, cloudy weather, it's perfect hunting for the big cats. And even with full bellies, you okay there, Dave? Even with full bellies, lions are still consummate opportunists. Right. Let's bob and weave our way in here. I don't think I picked the easiest route. It's relatively open, so you can all join me on the moment of discovery, a moment of surprise. I'm so busy looking the one way, I didn't even see him, and he was very obvious the other. That's terribly embarrassing, Dave. How do we get there? Which way are the guests looking? Just going to decide which approach is best. Squeeze through here. Okie dokie. Now we're winning. She definitely walked this exact line. So this must... Oh, it's a wildebeest. Aha. And there is the culprit. Hold on one moment. All will be revealed in due course. There's the poor hapless wildebeest. Looks, from this angle, it hardly looks as though it's been fed on at all. And then, straight ahead, in the most awkward position possible, is one Birmingham boy. You can see him there. No. Look a little bit to the right of the marula. There. Ha-ha! Well spotted. Here we go. So, somebody please explain to me what's going on. Where the Nkuhumas are? Are they here somewhere? Did they take their cubs further south for the first time? I hope not. Because that does mean that we won't be able to be with them on this sunset safari. Now, I'm curious to know if this is the same Birmingham boy that was with Tayla this morning. He's looking thoroughly well rested. I don't know. I wasn't at that sighting this morning, so I'm not sure which lion was with them. Ah, apparently it was two of them. This is him, isn't it? This is the gentleman with the... Oh, sorry, Dave. Over this hump. This is definitely the same. He's got the puffy side, right-hand side of his face. Oh, ouch. That's sore. You see how swollen his nose is? Oh, my word. Poor boy. And he still managed to take down that wildebeest, presumably alone. And you see the fresh scratches around his nose, and I presume if he turns his head, the injury that's causing that major swelling... Oh, shame. He looks like he's got a balloon nose. He looks like an elephant seal. Not quite. That's an exaggeration. The life of a male lion. And there's stories written all over their faces in the form of scars. You can actually see the tooth marks on his head. Those are puncture wounds. That's a tooth. He's really got some scars. Now, presumably this is one of the males that was with Tayla and the Inkahumas. Shame, it's probably feeling thoroughly under the weather. Oh, big sigh. Probably, most likely actually, this cold weather is making him much happier with life because he's probably got a little bit of a temperature. I think that injuries, it might just be swelling. I think it might be a little bit infected as well. Thanks, Orbs. Have I done something bad? Am I back? Am I back? Okay. Okay. All right. I almost feel like I want to hold the microphone, but there we go. Should be okay. Now we have Aubrey to thank for that sighting. Ouch. Yes, I think he might have a little bit of a temperature, our lion. And I think it's making him not nervous, but slightly more aware than normal. He looked up at us when we came through. You can see him looking across at Aubrey. Quite often the Birmingham boys, they're so comfortable with vehicles that they actually just rest their heads down completely and don't even lift their heads when we come past. I think it's testament to the fact that he's feeling a little bit unwell. This is the same Birmingham boy that was with them yesterday. And the swelling to me, unless I'm very much mistaken, I wasn't at either sighting, but the swelling to me looks a little bit worse today than it did yesterday. Shame, boy. It's a tough life being a male lion out here. For our newer viewers, I should probably explain some of the different names and terms I've been using. This is a male lion that is part of the dominant coalition of this area called the Birmingham Boys. They started out as 5 male lions. There's now only 4 of them. One of them died of natural causes. Aubrey talking to me. I'm confused. Oh, no, he's just stopped to look at the carcass. The Birmingham boys are in charge of this area and probably about, I would guess, at roughly 8,000. Am I back? I'm so sorry about the mic issues, everybody. We don't have an option here. We just have to try and make it work for now. Obviously, with all kinds of things happening in the Safari Live world, our equipment is spread across Africa. Not quite, but almost. And so whilst we are doing our utmost to fix the sound issues, there's only so much we can do, unfortunately. So we apologize and we do thank you for your patience. We know it's not right at the moment. Right, what was I saying? Oh yes, Birmingham boys. They are dominant over at least 2 prides and fathered cubs in at least 2 prides. The Inkahumas that I was looking for at the start of drive, and the Styx pride, which are a little bit further to the south and the east of where we are now, for the most part. And between the 4 of them, they move about. Oh, I thought he was going to call then for a second. They move around an enormous territory, and those scratch and bite marks on his face could be from the lionesses getting a little bit cross with him, or could actually be from one of his own coalition members. The lions within a coalition do occasionally have scraps, but for lions it's the equivalent of an almost brotherly fist fight. They just happen to be very large animals with powerful, powerful weapons. And you can see he's even got scars on his back. There's a tuft of his black tail, and there we go. Here's the scars. Top of the tail there. All the way along his body. Nicks and scratches. Now that we've got the opportunity to reposition, I'm going to loop around so we get to look at the front of him. While we do that, Tayla has got zebras in pajamas.
So Eggsy and I stumbled across this dazzle of zebra. There's not too many of them. There are a few that are hiding away. And when we actually got here, they were sleeping. And for a few moments, they were all sitting down, very relaxed. And then they jumped up and darted away. So I'm not sure if it was because of us or if it was because there was a huge gust of wind that came through. But they've settled down now. They've all got their heads down and are munching away, which is good. So I hope it wasn't us that disturbed them. But anyway, now they're getting something to eat. But zebra actually sleep quite a few hours every single day. They'll sleep up to about 8 hours out of a 24-hour period, which is quite a lot. Most of the herbivores don't usually rest for such long periods. But I suppose zebra are very much like horses, and horses quite enjoy their siestas, as well as also having a little sleep at night. So they can sleep sitting down very much like a horse would. Sometimes if they're particularly exhausted, they will completely lay down on their sides. But you can imagine if they do this, they are vulnerable to all sorts of predators. And when they do lay down like that, they're obviously in a deep sleep. And if they weren't paying attention, anything could sneak up and grab them. So you don't see them doing that very often. Now, just with all this talk about the drought at the moment, if you look at these zebras, they do look like they're in fantastic condition. And no, I'm not looking at the size of their bellies. That is a very bad indication as to how healthy a zebra is. So the zebras have got a very simple digestive system and tend to produce a lot of gas, which bloats the stomach like that. But if you have a look at their manes, you can see that their manes are standing up nice and straight. And if they were sick or if they were sort of malnourished, those manes would actually flop over to the side like a horse's would naturally. And that is an indication of if they are healthy or not. Just in case you are new and you have never been watching the show before, it's always nice to mention that when looking at zebra. Look at all those lovely stripes. But they also look a bit damp. I don't think they're particularly happy about the weather today. You can see this one on the left is actually coming out quite nicely now, coming away from the thickets. Have a look. See, there's one sort of standing just off into the distance. I don't know if you can see that there. So everybody, remember, we are live. And if you'd like to get hold of us or send any questions or comments, you're welcome to either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can also email us. And the address for that is questions@wildearth.tv. So here's a question for all of you. Now, I'm talking to the new viewers. I'm not going to talk to you who know the answer, because it's a trick question, and it's a question that all guides are asked when people come on safari. So if you do know the answer, don't spoil it for anybody else. But let's see how many correct guesses we get from some of our new viewers this afternoon. And it's quite a nice game to play. If you've got any children with you that are watching the show, maybe ask them the question. It'll be quite interesting to hear what they say. Now, is a zebra black with white stripes, or are they white with black stripes? And I know some of you are saying, oh, we've heard this question before, but it's important. And like I said, every time I get a new set of guests, that is the first thing they ask me about zebra. So I'll be waiting in anticipation to hear your answers. Very nice of them. Now they have decided to walk off into the distance. Good afternoon, Carla. Thank you so much for watching us this afternoon. So Carla got a great quick response. I thank you so much for being so speedy. So Carla thinks that they are definitely black with white stripes. And you are indeed correct, Carla. Well done. And normally the response we get is that they are white with black stripes. And it makes sense if you're seeing a zebra for the first time, because it looks like there's a lot more white hair on their bodies. Now, what I'm actually talking about is not the hair. They are indeed, like Carla said, black with white stripes. And that's because the pigment, the color of their skin, is actually black. So if you were to go over to a zebra or even to a gray horse and you were to lift back that white hair, you would see that indeed the skin is dark. So that's why zebra are black with white stripes. Isn't that incredible? And it's amazing how incredible the black and white coloration is. I know Steph said maybe about a week ago, that black and white is the color that stands out the most in the bush, and you can clearly see that here. But it's an amazing defense mechanism that zebra have when they're standing together in big herds. I don't know if you remember that sighting that we had, was it not yesterday afternoon, the afternoon before, where we sat and waited patiently at the dam with all those zebra, and it took them about an hour and a half down to come down and drink from Red Dam in Arethusa. And I was wondering if you noticed, while we were so engrossed by that sighting, how when they came together it was quite difficult to tell one zebra from another. And that's one of the theories behind the design of a zebra. And another absolutely incredible thing to see is when there's a young foal standing in and amongst the herd. I don't know if you've ever noticed how the young foal doesn't really lurk around on the outskirts, especially if they do feel as though there's a threat around and they all come together. That foal will come to the middle of the herd, and the length of the legs is exactly the same as that of the adults. Quite amazing. And I'm sure you've seen that with horses as well. When horses are born, they are completely out of proportion. They've got these really long gangly legs, and then quite a short stumpy body, and then again a big head. And that is just so that when the predators are looking at them, looking at the herd, they can't make out which are the young ones, because they're just sort of seeing legs, and then the stripes all blend together, and it makes it difficult to pick out the rear end from the front end, which is quite amazing. But you can see they're also very happy today, not swishing their tails around like they normally do on a hot summer's day when there are a lot of insects around. So that's something I have to say thanks for this afternoon with the cool weather, is that there are very few insects around, well, the biting and flying kind of insects, which is great. And you can see that the animals are appreciating that. We've been seeing over the last few days elephants and lions and impala and buffalo who have been very upset by all the different types of flies and midges that have been irritating them, either by going into their eyes or their nose or their mouths to get all the moisture. And some of those flies and midges will even actually bite the ears of those animals. But these zebras seem to be moving on into the thicket now. Oh, I see a hornbill. Can you see the hornbill? It's gone right to the left. So if you carry on panning a little bit further left, to the left of that zebra, keep going, keep going. Right. If you zoom in to the tree on the left, let's see if it's still there. I think I can still see it. Oh, hang on everybody. Let me try and go forward a little bit. I'm going to try and catch this hornbill. If I can get good old Wendy to start. Good girl. She's behaving for now. Where are you? Did you see where it landed? It didn't seem like it flew very far. Hang on, let's try get another little look. Oh, I can see another one though. Right. Eggsy, on this tree, directly where the zebra is, can you see just above all those branches? There we go. We have got a yellow-billed hornbill. Look at it. Doesn't that look like the grumpiest hornbill? Well, it's the grumpiest hornbill I have ever seen. Look at the head tucked right into its breast, trying to keep out of the wind and keep nice and warm. All fluffed up. Not impressed with this weather. Now, Mr. Hornbill, if you had found the termite mound that I found earlier, you would not be looking so displeased with life. You would be very happy because you'd be having a wonderful meal. Now, we get a variety of different hornbill species in this area, and this is one of the most common So we've got the yellow-billed hornbill, we have the southern red-billed hornbill, which looks very much like this yellow-billed, except it has a red bill, and the bill is much more slender. We also then have the African grey hornbills, and occasionally we see the crowned and the trumpeter hornbills, but those two species are not as common. And then, of course, everybody's favorite hornbill, the southern, the ground hornbills. I completely lost blending two different species of birds together, or subspecies. So the ground hornbill is quite an amazing bird. We haven't been seeing them too often, but there's not too many breeding families around, unfortunately, in this area. They are few and far between, but they're quite nice to see. But like I said, I may even have to try and take a little snap of this very grumpy hornbill. Like I said, this is a first for me, and we're ticking off lots of firsts. Well, it's not the greatest because we seem to be looking into the grey sky, but I will give it a bash anyway. That's what a little bit of Lightroom is for, just to maybe turn down the highlights, and that is hysterical. Or maybe I can't even see its eyes anymore. The other one was flying around. So this actually looks like a male. Well, the reason why I think this is that if you look at its beak, you can see it's quite robust on the top, and that is a typical characteristic of the male hornbills. The female hornbills tend to have a slightly more slender bill. And I think that other one that I was trying to show you earlier perhaps was the female. They are monogamous, so they do sort of hang around together. Hello, Claudia. Claudia wants to know, what do hornbills eat? Now, Claudia, I don't know if you just heard that I was talking about a variety of different subspecies of hornbills. Now, the yellow-billed hornbill eats a number of different things, from termites, which is typically what you see them feeding on. They love termites, especially now when the mounds are nice and soft, like I showed you earlier. It's really easy for them to penetrate through. They will even eat a few seeds if they can. I've seen them nibbling on bits of fruit as well, but predominantly in this area they're feeding on types of insects, so from grasshoppers to a moth or a butterfly if they can catch one. But at the moment this hornbill is not eating anything, and I think he's sort of feeling very sorry for himself. Now, my particular favorite, the ground hornbill, the southern ground hornbill, is a ferocious, I think ferocious is the correct word, a ferocious predator. I've seen them eating chameleons, I've seen them eating snakes, even pecking through the hard shell of a tortoise. I mean, how unbelievable is that? And sometimes, I haven't seen it very often, but it does happen, is that those big hornbills will actually go and feed on carcasses. I think I want to show you what a ground hornbill looks like. Let me just find it in my book of tricks quickly, my lovely bird book that has been everywhere with me for the last 5 years. No, I should probably just look at the back and the index. That would probably help me. H for hornbill. Seeing as we're here, and I know Jamie has been doing bird calls, and I know she challenged me earlier today to do a bird call. Maybe I'll do the yellow-billed hornbills call. Let me quickly get my, here we go, southern ground, 266. Let's get there, and then I shall do the call of the, right, are you ready for my call, everybody? Okay, let me just take a deep breath. So for the yellow-billed, southern yellow-billed hornbill, it goes, and then they flap their wings as well and arch their backs. I can't do it as well because I don't have a beak, but that was my impression. Now I'm going to quickly show you the southern ground hornbill. Look at that over here. Isn't that impressive? So let me just hold the pages nicely because they're going to blow away. Amazing birds, and they're big. They can stand at almost 1.2 meters tall, which is pretty impressive. And a big male can, sorry, a female, and the males, they're very similar in size. Just once again, the skin around the eye and the neck with the males is a lot more red. You can see there's a female. And they, oh sorry, other way around, I'm going crazy. And then their weight, which is quite impressive. I'm going to pull the book away now just because I'm about to lose it. They can weigh up to 6 kilograms, which is quite a big bird. And it's amazing, and they can fly as well. It was one of the things I was most impressed as to how easily a bird that weighs so much, how easily they can fly through the air. They don't fly very often. It's normally just to fly up to the tops of trees and roost. And I suppose if they do feel threatened, then it's a quick way to get away. And there our zebra have moved off, and our hornbill has also flown away. Right, let's carry on a little bit longer. I'm getting very tongue-tied. My brain is frozen this morning. What's happening? Why am I not going anywhere? See, exactly. It's not even the morning. Thank you, Rebecca. It's the afternoon. That's how frozen my brain is at the moment. Goodness gracious. I think we're going to have to thaw out around the fire this evening. Oh, our hornbill seems to be a little bit happier. Can you see it up there? Oh, wow. Can you see it there? Patricia wants to know if fungus or mushrooms will pop up overnight after the rain. And yes, you're correct. Normally after big thunderstorms, you'll actually see mushrooms forming at the base of trees. I haven't really seen it too much over here. I've just seen a few. I'm not actually even sure of the species of mushrooms that they get in this area. But yes, I have indeed seen it, especially down in the Eastern Cape in an area called Hogsback. After a thunderstorm, you will see an array of fungi growing at the base of the trees. You see, those are the two hornbills that we were looking at earlier, and they seem to have woken up a little bit. They've got a bit of a personality. And what are they pecking at? They're eating something. I can't see what that one was munching on just now, but it did peck and throw something in its mouth. Maybe it got a little grub or beetle or something that was holding on to that branch. They still don't look very happy though. Another one's coming a little bit closer. Are you going to fly away? Yes, you are. Bye-bye, hornbills. They put on a wonderful show for us, so that was good. And that's another one to add to your bird list, everybody. Remember, we are creating a bird list, and I'd like to hear some of the special birds that you have seen for those who have been watching Safari Live for some time. It'll be nice to know what I can expect to see in the up and coming months as the weather warms up. Oh, hang on. Our friends are back. Are you going to fly away, or are you going to just stay, Mr. Hornbill? Stay nicely. I'm just going to pretend like I'm driving away, and then they may sit still. Look at that. They're right here. We might actually get a very nice close-up. Hello. There we go. Isn't that amazing? Carla, it's so great to keep hearing your name this afternoon. Thank you for asking so many questions. Carla wants to know if this is a male and a female. Now, the one that we're looking at actually looks like a female. You can see that bill. I don't think, in my opinion, that it is as robust as the one we're looking at, but we'll see now. Let's see, I've lost view of the other hornbill. Let's sit here for a few minutes and let's have a look. Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe there are two males, but I can't see. Can you swing over to the right? That other one is just popping up. Yes, I think that is the male there. You see, just the crest on its bill is a lot more broad than the other one was. So I think it is a male and a female. It would be bizarre to see two males hanging around with each other. That's not a very common sight to see. But that is quite a pretty contrast that you're seeing with that bright yellow bill against the green leaves of this acacia tree. That's a nice screenshot, everybody. Very nice. Maybe I should even try. Nah, I don't know. Watch, if I point my camera at them, I know they're going to fly away. So I'm not going to do that because I don't want to ruin the view. The birds sense when guides have cameras because they're the most difficult thing to photograph. I probably only have a handful of really good hornbill pictures. Very nice, but they're very cold. I can hear elephants, everybody, and I've been trying to find them for the last 20 minutes or so before we stumbled across the zebra and the hornbills, and I can't pinpoint where they are because of this wind. The sound is really just traveling. Eggsy, did you hear that? Where did it sound like? Eggsy says it sounded like everywhere. So let's carry on up ahead because I think we could be getting closer to these elephants, but we will meander this way and just see if we get any luck. Ooh. Hello, Liz. Liz says that some of her favorite birds are carmine bee-eaters. Now, for those of you who don't know what a carmine bee-eater is, you may have seen a little bee-eater. They are the ones that are hanging around at the moment. They're bright green and they've got a little bit of yellow on them. Now, the carmine bee-eaters are even prettier. You wouldn't think that something could get even more beautiful than a little bee-eater, but they are sort of a pinky magenta color. I could describe that. So if we stop again, I will show you what a carmine bee-eater is, and they should start arriving now at the end of October or so, which is quite nice to see. We used to see quite a lot of them down in the southern sections of the Sabi Sands, and also in Zambia. Oh my goodness, we saw massive groups of the bee-eaters. Right now, we're on the hunt for elephants. If you have just joined the show, we heard them in the distance, but the wind is now picked up again, and it's distorting the sound quite a bit. So I'm uncertain as to where they are, but it sounded like they were coming from this block just to the west of me. Now, unfortunately, we can't off-road for elephants, and I don't like to off-road for elephants, even if you were allowed to. Firstly, just because you need to give them a lot of room. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to get a view of them if they're not too far in this block. It's quite a big area, and there's just sort of a few roads surrounding the outside. And that's what I love about the bush, is that you can't just drive everywhere and wherever you want. We obviously limit to where and how we can maneuver the vehicles around. We don't want to damage the environment unnecessarily. And with these elephants, they can hide. Can you believe it? That the largest land mammal can hide away. But they are indeed doing a good job this afternoon. Right, where are you? I'm going to carry on searching for these elusive elephants. I think Jamie's finally got a better spot, and I know she's itching to show you the rest of the lions.
But we do have a far better view of our male lion. And it gives us a chance to have a bit of a closer look at his injury. Those of you who are not fond of such things, please look away now. We're going to have a closer look. Might make you feel a little bit queasy if you're squeamish. Definitely a bite wound to me. That looks like a puncture. It is still bleeding. And moving? Oh, did anybody else's stomach turn when you realized what you're looking at? Oh, ooh, okay. So the maggots that are in his wound that you can see moving around, that's actually not a terrible thing. They will eat away the infected dead tissue. It can't be comfortable, and if you're anything like me, you're now shivering a little bit. Oh, goodness. Okay, let's stop looking at the maggots in his injury. Oh, goodness. Not pleasant at all. Shame. No wonder he's feeling so horrible. Oh, poor boy. And no wonder it's still bleeding a little bit as they irritate it. Shame. Not nice. Hopefully his immune system kicks in. Now, Kim from Florida was saying that cats puncture their own injuries to get rid of the abscess or the infection there, to essentially reduce the swelling. And I was wondering if big cats do the same thing. I think that in a situation like that, they might worry at it. Especially if it's on their face, they might rub to the point that they rupture it. I don't know if there's an intentional thought process behind it. I don't think that they think, oh, let me pop this, it'll feel better. I think it's more that they push against it and they rub it if it's not comfortable. And then it, in turn, starts to ease the discomfort, and maybe even squeezes out a little bit of the infection and the pus, which is essentially just dead white blood cells doing their job of fighting off the infection. Okay, I need to take a break from looking at that. That's hugely unpleasant, that thought. I promise you, he will be fine though. We've seen far worse injuries. It's all a day in the life of a male lion. But I do feel for him. It can't be pleasant, and he can't be feeling very well right now. No wonder he responded in the way that he was yesterday with Tayla in her Nkuhuma sighting, when he was growling and a little bit snarly at the cubs and at the lionesses. You can't blame him for being a little bit down in the dumps and a little bit grumpy. Just by the way, my apologies. It is not a wildebeest, it's a baby buffalo. So I'm sorry about that. I jumped to a conclusion, and now that I look at it from face on, that's a baby buffalo, not a wildebeest. So obviously this all happened at the same time. So the Nkuhumas raced ahead. One of them might even have taken down the baby and then just carried on, or maybe the male took down the baby and then the rest carried on. But in my opinion, this all happened during the same hunt. And then we've seen that before with the Nkuhumas, or I say we, you guys have seen that before with the Nkuhumas, with the Birmingham boys and Hayden, where they took down several buffalo calves in one hunt. So it absolutely does happen in that situation. And I have good news. It looks as though they have found the Nkuhumas. They're still on the main road, and it might take us some time to get into that sighting. We've had the best of luck with the Nkuhumas. They've been on Djuma the entire time, and not every guide in the Sabi Sand can drive Djuma. So it's only fair that they actually have a chance to spend a little bit of time with them first. We've been spoilt. Yeah, no, this definitely happened at the same time. I'm looking now at the tracks in the ground, and I don't know if you can see some of the buffalo tracks there, Dave. Deep in the wet, yeah, deep in the wet. Yeah, there you go. You can see they were running just from the depth that they sank into the mud. They sank so deep that if you have a look carefully, look at that track that Dave's got there, right in the middle of your screen. They've gone in so deep that the two indents at the back are actually the dew claws of the buffalo, and you only ever see that when they're racing and when they're running through soft sand. That's, yeah. I'm going to try. I don't think I can point it out. I don't have a stick. These are the dots here on the end. There you go. There's my blurry finger for you. Enjoy. So those are the dots at the back of the track. And then not only that, but the buffalo tracks are going different directions as well. So the lions had an absolute field day with this poor buffalo herd last night. You can imagine, wind howling, disoriented, dark, thunder, lightning, can't hear anything, can't smell anything, rain pouring into their eyes, and probably 6, 7 very efficient feline predators coming after them. 5 Nkuhuma lionesses and 2 Birmingham boys. It's a seriously intimidating thought. I did think about that, Tim. The thought occurred to me when I realized which lion was here. After I said that they hadn't eaten much of the buffalo, I was quite surprised. And Tim was wondering if perhaps his injury isn't affecting his ability to feed. Yes, to an extent. He's full. He has eaten quite a lot of meat, but I think it stopped him from gorging himself. So I think lions generally eat and eat and eat as much as they can, and then even when they're full, they walk up and they kind of stumble up to the carcass and go nibble on it for a while. I think he ate until he was full, and now it's sore for him to bite and to chew and to move that lip around, and he's decided it's not worth it. He's not hungry anymore, therefore it's not worth eating. But if he were really, really hungry, it wouldn't stop him. Absolutely not. I mean, we saw the Birmingham boy with the split lip. He had a split all the way down his lip. You could see his canine through it. And he was still feeding when that wound was fresh. So nothing will come between a lion and their... If a lion stops eating, then you know they're really not feeling well. And this, I'm sure he's so grateful for this cooler weather. Sorry guys, I'm just listening to the Game Drive channel. And I can hear some olive toads here as well. I think we'll give it another few moments with him, and then after that I will probably leave and see if we can't have a chat about the Nkuhumas. I don't think he's going to get up to too much. They've got very full bellies. I'm just thinking, that lioness, she must have, that we found this morning, she must have lost her pride in the chaos of the hunt. They must have caught something and she must have stayed and fed off it, and the others had gone off in search of something else, and she got separated from them. That's the only conclusion that I can reach. And Kathy in Tennessee, you wanted to know, sorry, here we go again, everybody sensitive, look away. You're wondering whether or not once the dead tissue is gone. Sorry, hold on 1 second, sorry. Standing by. I'll just have to have a quick conversation. Thanks very much, Abel. Do you know if they're running it on the Western Channel or the Eastern? Copy. Thanks very much, Abel. Right, sorry, we were chatting about the maggots and whether or not they're going to drop off once all of the dead and infected tissue has been removed or not. Oh, goodness. That is so horrifying. I can see him twitch a little bit in pain. And the answer to that is, I'm not 100% sure what exactly is going to happen. As far as I knew, maggots generally only ate decomposing flesh or dead flesh and not living flesh. But it's sort of, I guess they'll crawl out and drop off, but it's kind of hard to see how it would work, isn't it? Some of them might die off. I guess they will. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. I guess they'll crawl out. I find it difficult to believe that they wouldn't eat a little bit of living flesh as well. Ashka, you want to know what is the possibility of this infection turning septic? It probably already has, to an extent. It's probably, in a way, his system is fighting it off. He will probably, if we were to examine him, we'd find that he would have a temperature. There'd be quite a lot of pus in there, and he'd be fighting it off with his immune system. Oh, my word. Am I seeing that right? I am, aren't I? Wow. What? That's unbelievable. Sorry, I know this is very unpleasant, and we will look away from it in a moment. I'm absolutely, I can't stop looking because I'm intrigued by it. I'm trying to think how this is working biologically. I'm looking, bear in mind I'm looking through a small monitor as well, but they're moving in waves. Goodness. They almost look like they're multiplying, but they can't be, obviously. That's not how it works. What? Oh, What is going on there? Me neither. I wish I could make this, I wish I could see further in. I'm pressed right up against my monitor trying to figure this one out. Shall be close without doing it there. If I come up your side. Okay, hold on. Bex, I'm going out of comms for a moment. Sorry, everybody. For those of you who are utterly revolted, keep looking away. I promise I'll let you know when you can watch again. I want to try and figure out exactly what's going on here. And if they're perhaps on their way out. I'm climbing up to join Dave in the back here. That's insane. Oh my word. It's this... Are they actually... That is maggots, right? Wow. Okay, sorry. For those of you with weak stomachs, let's look away from that now. It's enough. Alright, those of you who tuned out due to not wanting to see that, you can watch again. So Dave's camera, without doing it on your side, is able to magnify it for mine, from his, and therefore from mine, because I climbed up to sit in the back with him. I've never seen anything like that. Absolutely extraordinary. So we were talking about the likelihood of it turning septic. I am 95% certain that he's going to be absolutely fine. I'd actually say higher than that. I'm 99% certain. You've got to always be careful of giving absolutes in the bush, obviously, because strange things happen, things go wrong, things go right, animals surprise you. So it's impossible to say anything with a complete degree of certainty. But I'm sure he's going to be okay. I know it looks awful. And it does look very swollen, and it must be very uncomfortable. There's no getting around that. He must be very, very uncomfortable. Shame, boy. Who did that to you? And that, to me, looks like a tooth. Ah, there we go. James, thank you very much. James Dungan is able to actually see a little bit better than I am, and has actually pieced the puzzle together better than I did. That's absolutely what's happening. Because the injury runs along the nasal cavity, it's moving as he breathes. They're moving as he breathes. Thank you. Perfect. Brilliant. Totally logical. I totally should have figured that out. That explains why they were moving like that. Oh, very well done. Thank you. And Rain, who is 16, you wanted to know, is it possible that the male lion was stung by something? It's not impossible, and I have seen lions that have been stung before with big swollen faces, and they look very uncomfortable. But Rain, a sting like that is unlikely to cause such a nasty injury. It could, I suppose, on your logic also, potentially have been something like a snake bite, because a puff adder does... Something cytotoxic does cause that huge amount of swelling. But if it had been a puff adder, it would have been even bigger. The fact that he's got fresh scratches around his face as well, and a couple of puncture wounds on the top of his head, immediately says to me that this was a lion fight, rather than any other kind of injury. Shame, boy. So uncomfortable. Right. Well, I'm going to regain control of my stomach contents, and while we do that, let's go back over to Tayla. Woof.
Hello everybody, if you've just tuned into the show, my name is Tayla, and on camera this afternoon we've got Eggsy, and we are on a live African safari. Look what we have hiding under a guarri tree. See that? A waterbuck, everybody, and not just any waterbuck. I was particularly searching for a male waterbuck this afternoon. I made a comment earlier that I haven't really been seeing too many of the males with the ladies anymore, so we found him on his own, but he's hiding from us. However, he hasn't got anywhere else to go. He's going to have to come back out this way. He's munching on just some of the grass that's hiding underneath this guarri tree. Come on, or you're going to go around, you're going to go over. Oh, okay. You see, the animals love to make me look silly. Let's go up a little bit closer and we'll reposition. Just because he's a really beautiful specimen of a waterbuck. Right. No. But you honestly, you were posing so nicely for us earlier. This is very typical of the animals. Is he hiding still? Wait, hang on. Are you going to come out? I can't believe this, everybody. He was posing so lovely. It's only a matter of time before he lifts up his head and shows us his face. So, like I said, everybody, we're on a live African safari. And if this is your first time watching, welcome. And if you'd like to ask us any questions or comment on how wonderful it is to be able to see these wild animals live, you're welcome to either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you could even email us, and the address for that is email questions@wildearth.tv. Come on, Waterbuck, pop your head up. Look at that lovely splay of horns that he's got over there. And like I said, they have finished mating with the females now. The rut is sort of over, and hopefully at the end of the year we're going to see a few young waterbuck. So you did a good job, well done. And now you can relax and regain your strength. So that's pretty important for the male antelope species. Is they basically live in harems, and that means that there's one male with a group of quite a few females, and they tend to lose condition quite quickly while they're with these breeding herds of females. Sorry, I thought I heard monkey's alarm calling. Okay, now they've stopped, so I'll carry on. Sorry about that. I'm also on the lookout for leopard, and normally monkey's alarm calling would be a sign that there's a leopard. Doesn't seem to be. It seems whatever I've heard was possibly maybe the crested francolins that are calling in the distance. So this beautiful male waterbuck is looking nice and fat now too, so I think he has had an opportunity over the last few weeks to eat and regain his normal muscle and sort of weight capacity that he would have had. Sorry, as I was saying before, my mind got distracted, is that they lose condition fairly quickly when they're mating with all the females. It's quite a strenuous job because he's not just mating with the females, he's also trying to chase off possible contenders, and he needs to try and keep the girls in his space too. I'm going to go forward a little bit. I'm hoping we're going to get a really nice view of this male waterbuck now. Now, it would be nice if he popped his head over the shrub. Let's see. Come on, lift your head up for us. No, he's decided he's quite used to us. Oh, there we go. Hello. Behind all the trees. Munching away. Zach would like to know how long can this male waterbuck's horns grow. Now, firstly, just if you've never seen an antelope before, the males particularly or normally have horns. However, there are a few exceptions where the females will have horns too. Now, with a waterbuck, it's just the males that have the horns. And now, Zach, they can get fairly long. I wouldn't say more than maybe about 80 centimeters, 85 to 90 centimeters would be my guess. I'm not exactly certain. Not anywhere near the length of a kudu. Now, the kudu is another antelope species, and I also said today that I'd love to find a male kudu. Now, a male kudu's horns can get to about 1.2 meters in length. And now, that's an exceptionally large male kudu. But waterbuck don't quite get as long, and I don't think they're as impressive as a kudu's horns. See, these horns sort of curve back and then go forward again, whereas a kudu's horns they spiral, which is quite amazing. Let's see if he comes out. slowly but surely. No, he's listening. You see, even already, he's on his own, and we saw some waterbuck earlier, and I mentioned to you that they weren't really paying attention to what was around them, which was quite surprising to me. And possibly because there were more than one waterbuck in that area, that they were sort of relying on each other to listen out and tell each other if they see anything, whereas this male waterbuck is all on his own. Now, he's extremely vulnerable walking around like this. He's got nobody else to watch his back. He's got to do it all by himself. So that's why you see him sort of stopping and looking up every few minutes just to make sure. Here's also a very nice opportunity to see that lovely white ring that's on their rumps. And I did mention this morning, but we do have new viewers. So just while we're chatting, that is a follow me sign, that white ring. And you'll just have to keep watching the show to find out what a follow me sign actually is. Let's try repositioning once more. Carla would like to know if the males use their horns to impress the females. Oh, we're going to get a nice view of him now. That's beautiful, unobstructed view, everybody. Let's have a quick look at him before he decides to move again. Now, Carla, the bigger the set of horns, obviously the more impressive they look like. Look at him. I mean, he's got exceptional horns. So, yes, in fact, horns are one of the things that females will determine as to who the more attractive male is, I suppose you could say. Now, remember, the antelope want the fittest and the strongest male in that area to mate with them. They don't want to have the second bests. So if you've got nice long horns and you are big like this, it typically means you are mature. Not only do you have long horns, but you have got big, strong muscles too, and you're probably able to push around a younger, less experienced male who's possibly trying to squeeze in and mate with the girls. But he is a lovely boy. I can imagine he will manage to sire a few offspring this year. There we go. And he's going to be very happy soon when all the new shoots of grass come through. Hannah from Sweden, welcome and thank you for watching the show. You'd like to know, do antelope hold territories or do they just roam around? So now it depends on the time of the year. So typically the females will just move around wherever they like. And let me tell you a little bit about wildebeest quickly, because wildebeest do it quite nicely, in fact, and I just think they're such comical creatures. So if you look at something like a wildebeest, now they're in the Bovidae family, the males will actually mark and defend territories and wait for the ladies to move through to them. Now, if you're a impala or a waterbuck, you may have, it sort of depends, like I said, at different times of the year. When it's rutting, everybody's going to be competing for the main territory, so areas where there's good grazing, where there's a good source of water, and also where there's a point where if there is a bit of wind, they've got some shelter to get out of the miserable weather as well. So at certain times of the year, so it's normally from about March, April, May, around there, that's normally the main rutting season. And then you'll see them all fighting over the prime spots. Now, they're not mating. There's no need for them to hold a territory at all, so they just sort of roam around in this particular area. But off he goes. Now, we're going to carry on with our original plan as well. I'm also looking for elephants. Now, I couldn't find the ones that I heard shouting in the distance. I think they were in some very thick vegetation. So I got a little bit of wind of possibly where they saw some much earlier this afternoon. So I'd like to try and head down that way and see if we can't perhaps relocate on that other herd of elephants a little bit further south from where we are. Hello, Dream of Africa. And you'd like to know, or you've heard that lions don't like to hunt waterbuck because of the smell. Now that's not true. Down in the southern sector of the Sabi Sands, I saw the lions predominantly feeding on kudu, waterbuck, and buffalo. So that is actually not true, I'm afraid. That's a little bit of a myth that has managed to find its way into a few guide stories. So Jamie's got the lions. I think head on over to her. Maybe you can ask her a few more questions about why that whole myth. And I'm going to carry on searching for the elephants.
Feel free to ask me all the questions that you would like about this particular lion. Just to let you know, the Nkuhumas, as I said, have been found. There are quite a few vehicles still waiting to go into that sighting, and because it is a main road, there are also people on their way to the lodge driving their own personal cars because it's the main access road. So it's very, very busy at that sighting. And I'm going to keep listening to see if there's a position open, but otherwise I think that we might let the other vehicles have a chance to see the Nkuhumas. We have been so spoilt with them recently, I think it's only fair. And they've certainly done a marvellous job of keeping those cubs incredibly well fed. Our Birmingham boy is still fast asleep. There was a brief moment while you were with Tayla where some kudu stumbled upon the scene, unfortunately out of sight. The only reason I know that they were here was their deep booming alarm calls. It's a deep bark, and it is a sound that travels incredibly far in the bush. And they spotted him, obviously got a fright and started going bah, bah. That's exactly what they sound like, only much, much louder, but I don't want to do it loudly because I don't want to disturb him in any way. And I think that you'll probably find, I'm going to be doing some research on maggots and their effect on injuries like this and how they get out. I assume they crawl out after a while, but I honestly don't know. I feel as though my maggot knowledge is woefully unprepared for a situation like this. We see them all the time on carcasses, but never in this kind of situation. I don't think we need to see it again, though. No more. No closer. Look at him. I'm almost jealous of his mane right now, I have to say. The luscious blonde locks of the Birmingham boy look incredibly warm on this chilly day. I feel as though I wouldn't mind having a mane right now to tuck myself up in. And on that subject, something I was thinking about this morning. We're acutely uncomfortable in our human skin, our weak human skin, even though we're covered in layers of clothing. But I do feel sorry, not sorry because we need the rain and it's wonderful that we have it, but I do actually feel a little bit sorry for the animals out here. They had to go through that storm. It would have been the Nkuhuma cubs' first big storm, and I would love to know what they thought of that, how they reacted to the first boom of thunder. I asked yesterday by 2 4-year-olds that were watching our live safari if perhaps the animals get scared of lightning and thunder, and I said not really, but that the cubs maybe, or baby animals might get a little bit scared the first time they hear it. And I would have loved to have been there with the cubs when they heard their first thunder roll. Can you just imagine? Apparently this morning they were covered in mud and all dirty and scruffy looking from the rain. But they are very much exposed to the element. It's amazing how resilient these creatures are to go through temperatures of freezing cold right up to boiling hot on an almost, well, not a daily basis, but yesterday was boiling. And Samantha, you were wondering about the Styx mange and the effect that the rain might have on that. Perhaps it would help. Would it help or would it hinder? I have honestly no idea. My suggestion would be that it wouldn't have much in the way of an effect. One of the treatments for mange is to have a wash, but that's with special mange treatment, with special shampoos and so on. I don't think that just a standard rain would help. I don't know if it would make it worse. The only thing that might, for me, suggest might make it a little bit worse is it might compromise the bodies of the Styx cubs because they're tiny little creatures and then they're waterlogged and they're cold, so their metabolism is working, or their bodies are working overtime to maintain their internal body temperature. And that in turn, you know how you're more hungry when it's cold? You need to eat a little bit more, you bulk up on food. The same applies for the animals. So I don't know if that would have maybe an effect on them in that their bodies are not quite as resilient as they would normally be. But I have no idea. I don't know if any of you have any suggestions about what the rain would do, if it would make it worse or if it would make it better. It might have brought them some relief, maybe, from the itchiness of their skin and the scabbiness of their skin. Perhaps it made them a little bit more comfortable. But I really honestly have no idea about the answer to that question. Where's that? This way. Oh, you lost me. Oh no, there we go. Oh dear. I'm so sorry. We're going to continue to have conversations like this throughout the day, as I ask Dave whether or not he's got any sound for me. Right, I'm happy to put it to a vote as to what you would like to do. I'm happy to leave him for a bit and then come back a little bit later this evening. Perhaps the hyena might come around. You can send through what you would like to do on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or email through to questions@wildearth.tv. What would you like to do? Would you like to stay, or would you like to go and search for other things? We'll stay with him for a couple of minutes longer, and then depending on what you say, I'm more than happy. Now, some of you are a little bit confused about the current layout of the situation. Me too. I'm also a little bit confused, but you wanted to know where we are in relation to everything. So what I'm going to do, we're going to keep looking at the line for a moment as Jamie attempts to use technology to assist us in this question. I'll tell you exactly where we are. Oh no. Oh, it's there. Oh, there we go. Panic. Don't go, please, audio, don't go. Are we still there, Dave? Yep. Okay, let me get my map up for us and let us show you exactly where we are. Okay, so we are where that blue dot is over there. Here we go. This is Philemon's cut line. This is actually Zoe's road, not Rebecca's road, so just ignore that. That's Zoe's road. This straight line here where the green is outside of our Traverse area. That is Gowrie Main, the road that runs along it. And as far as I can tell from the sounds of the vehicles that I'm hearing, the Nkuhumas with one other Birmingham boy are just about... Oh, come on, don't do this. The rain's making my screen not work. Move. Ah, there we go. Just about there. There we go. That's where the Nkuhumas are. So a little bit further towards Gowrie Main. They are just ever so slightly on our side of the property. So they're on the north, and we are here. There was one dead buffalo. There's actually 3 dead buffaloes. There's one here where we are. There's one there where the Nkuhumas are. And there's one just... rain. Rain. Don't make my... There we go. Just to the south there. So there's 3 dead buffalo in this scenario, in this situation. Oh, there you go. And then to give you... Sorry, before we do this, to give you a greater perspective, the blue dot is us on Djuma, and then that's Tayla Dam, so where the dam camera is. And this, all these red dots here, is where the Nkuhumas have been most of the time. That's where Karula was yesterday. And as for that, I have absolutely no idea. Can't remember why I marked that. Oh, I know why I marked that. It was where Sindile deposited his scat. So I could go back and fetch it for our Panthera vials. So if that sounds peculiar to those of you who are joining us for the first time, we collect leopard scat and pop it in a vial that we then pass on to an organization called Panthera. There's a bit of drizzle coming down, and my dashboard cover's blown off completely. We pass that... Cool. Yes, Panthera does genetics testing. So you all happy for me to head out? I'm going to pop my dashboard cover back on, but I'll do that in a moment. As So apparently you would like me to go and have a look at the different dams, something that we did this morning, but that I'm more than happy to repeat since we've still got rain pouring down. But we'll send you across to Tayla while we navigate our way out of the sighting, and I'll catch up with you later.
Everybody, I'm frozen. All of a sudden, we've come out to this sort of clearing. I don't know if you can see how open it is, and we're up on quite a high rise. I am frozen this afternoon now. It was so nice driving where we were driving earlier, just because it was a little bit sheltered, and now I'm really being exposed to the harsh elements. Just remember, everybody, it is drizzling on and off out here in the Sabi Sands. There's lots of wind, so occasionally you may see a cloth going across your screen, so don't be alarmed. It's just Eggsy, just clearing it, just to make sure that you have the best possible view. I can't even hear myself talking anymore. I'm going to have to start shouting. Oh, goodness gracious. So we are still looking for the elephants. If I was an elephant, I'd be hiding in a drainage line, though. I would not want to be standing outside of this. Wait, maybe we need to go a little bit slower down here so I don't lose Eggsy. There we go, the cloth. Squeaky clean. Ah, I'm not blurred anymore. Sure. So, I know Jamie was showing you on the map where she was. It's amazing how after some time all the roads stick inside of your head and you know exactly where you are going. Unfortunately, that's not the case yet for me. I'm still learning. So I'm trying to head to the last spot of where those elephants were. But now we've got a beautiful herd of impala who are very clever. They are not elephants, but they're doing what the elephants should be by standing in this drainage line. See here. It's lovely and warm now. Now the temperature feels like it has risen quite a few degrees Celsius. Oh, that is so much better. There's all the lovely ladies, and you can see how fat they all are. All those little fawns developing inside the womb, which is so exciting. And I was telling Eggsy just a few moments ago that I cannot believe how it seems that they have almost doubled in size just within a few days. These little ones really do grow quite quickly. And I think maybe we'll even see some little fawns that are, or lambs that are earlier this year. Maybe you see that? Very, very jittery, very skittish. Once again, everybody, that's just because of this wonderful wind that we're experiencing. Now, impala have got very good eyesight, everybody. Impala and zebra are normally the ones, if we're doing a bushwalk, that spot us first and will tell all the other animals that we are walking around when we're actually just trying to hide. And that's what the impala are going to be relying on this afternoon, is not their hearing, not their sense of smell, but in fact their eyesight. It's quite a big herd of females here. There must be about 30, between 30 and 40 of them. They're all scattered all out around us. You can see just every now and then amongst all the grey, miserable brown bush, you can see some of those sort of rusty coloured impalas popping up. Quite a few of them. And most of them are actually moving off down into the drainage line even further. And hopefully they're finding a few little tasty snacks. Oh, that's very loud. We'll turn that radio down. Oh, you can see their white tails quite nicely. All the black markings on them too. A little bit of a scratch. Lovely animals. I think you always have to stop and have a look at impala. You can't just drive past them. There we go. Look at that female. Look at her. She almost looks like she's bursting at the seams. And they're only going to start giving birth sort of the December, January. Carla would like to know how long does it take for an impala lamb to develop fully in the womb. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Carla, it's around 6 months or so. So it's not too long. So hopefully they've only got a few more months to go. What are we in now? So halfway through September, October, November. So they're halfway there. So imagine what they're going to be like in a few months' time. Let me just double check that amount quickly. I just want to have a look while you have a look at the impala. I think it is 6 months, or maybe that's a daycare. I was reading about common daycare today, which is another antelope species, the second smallest antelope species that we see in this area. So my brain could be quite confused because it is so cold. It doesn't know what has hit it over the last few days. It was incredibly hot, and then now it's gone freezing cold. Let me just have a quick look here. Rightio. Where are you? Let's see how many that is. Yes, I was correct. About 6 months. It's between 190 and 200 days. So somewhere around there. So they're halfway through. It's always good just to double check. Obviously, I don't want to feed you any incorrect information. These gestation periods do vary slightly. So it's always good to just have a look. And I'm not afraid to admit when I am wrong either. It's important to learn and admit your mistakes well, it's impossible to know everything and try and remember everything when you're out in the bush as well. There's so many different animal species out here, so to try and remember all the gestation periods is quite difficult. But we manage somehow. Right, let's move on from these impala. I'd like to carry on with my original plan and try and relocate on this herd of elephants. Though at the rate at which I'm going, they could be in Mozambique by now. Like I said, I don't tend to go anywhere very quickly. Hello, just passing them. Bye-bye. And I keep getting distracted by everything. Well, while I slowly make my way through the reserve and hopefully find these elephants for you, let's go over to Jamie for a quick update.
You're trundling along Zoe's Road. You've asked for a sort of a loop of the dams to have a look at how full they've got, presumably, after our enormous amount of rain that, of course, won Dave the title of Weatherman. Downpour Dave, who got the date exactly spot on when we were first going to have rains, more than 20 mils. Not bad, Dave, not bad. The start of the morning's sunrise safari, we had 35 mils overnight. We've probably had a little bit more than that since then. It's been drizzling on and off all day, and it's perfect. That's exactly what we need. The heavy downpours are great, but of course they wash away the top layer of soil. Sorry, I don't know if we are able to listen to this. We can hear the toads starting to croak. Can you hear it, Dave?
I think so, yeah.
How cool is that? Overnight, the chorus starts. Should we try and find a frog? I think we should try and find a frog. It's difficult. It's easier, slightly easier at night. During the day, they have an almost ventriloquist effect to their calls. It makes it very tricky to pinpoint exactly where they are, especially when the wind keeps gusting. Let's give it a go. And of course, they go silent as soon as you drive past them. Have I passed the water? I must have. I can't remember exactly. I'm looking for the mud wallow with Pinchy Winer's hole in it, the freshwater crab, in the hope that perhaps there might be a frog somewhere there. But we'll keep an eye out for frogs as we go along. It'll be something new and exciting after a couple of months. Now, Charlotte, you were wondering on the subject of our drought relief, actually, and our dams. You wanted to know whether or not there are any catfish hidden in the dams, or if they have all died because of the drought. I think there will still be catfish, to be honest. I think there's going to be a couple of catfish that have managed to survive. Now, just to explain that for our newer viewers, just bear with me one moment. I just want to see if anybody's home. Oh, nobody's home at the shikra nest. Viam's decided upon our name for the female shikra that's currently occupied building this nest. Her name is now Shakira. No relationship to anyone intended. Please don't sue us. The little shikra is called Shakira. The male, well, I don't know. We haven't named the male, but the female shikra is called Shakira. Shakira the shikra. Just a little random aside. Moving on from that, back to Charlotte's question, the catfish in the mud. What catfish do as dams start to dry out? They're incredible creatures. They dig down and deep into the mud and they cover themselves with a mucus-lined sac with breathing tubes in it, essentially as a way of surviving during the drought. And then they slow their metabolism and they essentially go dormant until the next rain, and they can then start to reproduce and swim about and do their normal catfishy things. I think some of them would have survived. I think the drought would have taken a seriously heavy toll on the population, and that we know already because we saw towards the end of the dams as they started to dry out just how much those catfish were struggling, flapping about, being picked off by fish eagles one by one. So obviously some of them didn't make it, and probably some of them might not have dug deep enough into the mud to have actually survived. But I do think that some will have survived, and I think when we go back to the dams, we'll probably find that there will be catfish emerging. They might not come straight away. I don't know how fast catfish come out of that dormancy period. I have absolutely no idea. It would be very interesting to know, actually. I wonder how fast they do. We get terrapins in puddles overnight. Now, for us, driving through these puddles, we have to be very, very careful, even just a couple of hours after rain, to make sure we go through very, very slowly, so that anything in the water has a chance to surf out of it. I wonder how one goes about finding out about catfish dormancy. I think I need to try and do some research on that. I've added to my list after maggots. Research catfish dormancy. I must have one of the weirdest to-do lists in the world. Look up maggots, catfish. I do have a little notebook that I try and keep notes and remember the things that I'm meant to go and investigate. Because sometimes you have an amazing sighting and it sort of knocks that thought out of your mind for a while. Now, like Tayla, I'm also keeping an eye out for big grey shapes in the bush. I saw some elephants on my way to the line. I skipped out on them just because I wanted to get to the lions before anybody else on that main road. Unfortunately, everybody else had exactly the same thought that I did, and they all came out early. So much for that theory. And I suppose the reason that they can is because it is so chilly this afternoon. The guests won't be too hot. The safari vehicles usually go out at about 4, just because it's a little bit cooler. There's a bit of relief from the afternoon heat. And I know I saw Ellie's somewhere here. The other thing that's made me exceptionally happy about this rain is, apart from the obvious and the relief from the drought, is the fact that it stopped Rusty's brake squeaks. It's amazing. We tried everything, but a bit of rain was all we needed. to spot this particular bird, but I think it has flown away. I can still see it. I'm thinking about my literal readings of bird noises. A little bit earlier, Dave and I were trundling along trying to get out of that lion sighting. Oh, now it really has. Oh no, there's one. There's one where that big marula curves to the right. There you go, you got it. Well done, thank you. I know, it's our fork-tailed drongo. They're always everywhere. We look at them all the time. There was one of them doing the pearl-spotted owl whistle, sorry, and had me confused for a little while. I was determined I was going to put a pearl-spotted owlet on screen before I realized what it was. And now I want to see, and I want you all to share the moment with me. 380. Oh, Cokie Franklin. Let's look for that at the same time. Hold on, let me go find it. Cokie, Cokie. Oopsie, off the road. Where is this little bird now? It's coming from right here. I can't see it. Can you, Dave? Oh dear. Oh well. It was a nice try. Right, let's have a look at... not as exciting as I thought it was going to be. A variety of grating or shrill notes. Mimics birds of prey, especially pearl-spotted owlet. Okay, that wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be. Oh well, we'll have to search for a new bird that we can laugh at the different literal translations of their bird calls. As we head to Treehouse Dam to show you how full it is, let's head across to Tayla, find out how the great elephant search is going.
Jamie, my elephant search is going absolutely nowhere. However, I am listening out very carefully because I can hear some bush-veld rain frogs chirping in the distance. And that is my second favorite animal of all time after the elephants, and my favorite amphibian. Now, what I'm hoping is that we're going to find one on the road, which will be easier because they do tend to stop calling when you get too close to them, and they are very well camouflaged. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to find one unless it's here on the road, which is quite obvious. So you'll see me scanning quite nicely. It's quite nice to hear there's quite a few of them chirping away in the distance as well. And they're very grumpy looking frogs, pretty much like that hornbill that we saw today. A similar expression. So I think that these elephants have done the sensible thing and moved out of the wind, which is unfortunate for us. But I would have done the same thing if I was an elephant. So we're just carrying on driving along. Maybe we get lucky and just seeing what else is out there this wonderful, windy, cold afternoon. Right, I'm going to do this little loop just to check. We're going to look down into one of the drainage lines just to see if they perhaps haven't gone there somewhere. Also just checking for any little critters that are maybe coming out of these logs that are on the side of the road. Seeing as Jamie found a millipede this afternoon, I'm very impressed with that. So hopefully I get to find something similar. But so far, no luck. And that's the thing about the bush, is that sometimes it's bustling and full of animals. Other times it's really quiet. And that's just something we have to sort of take in our stride. We can't have it good all the time, I'm afraid. There's got to be some quiet moments just to appreciate everything else that's around us. So I don't mind sort of bumbling along and not really seeing anything. Sorry, excuse me. Just scanning. It's quite open. Now, Oi. Hello, Charles. So, Charles, I believe you are a new viewer. Welcome, and I hope you decide to watch us. So, Charles, you've asked us if myself and Jamie are putting on a show or if this is actually live. It's live, otherwise I wouldn't be answering your question right now. Can you believe it? So, I think, Eggsy, have a little scan around just to show Charles what's going on out here. At the moment, there's nothing going on. And this is what I love, Charles, about live safaris, is that nothing is staged. It just happens. You've got to be at the right place at the right time. If it was pre-recorded, then we'd be showing you all sorts of animals all the time, and you'd never see quiet bits like this. So it is indeed a real live safari. Pretty spectacular that we can do something like this in the middle of Africa. So, Charles, just so that you know, we are on a reserve called Djuma Private Game Reserve, which is situated in the Sabi Sands, which is essentially like a wilderness area, and we are part of the greater Kruger area. So the animals have got 8.5 million acres of land to roam around in. So it's a massive piece of land, and we've only got certain sections that we can traverse on, which is pretty amazing that we get to see all the things. I don't know if you were watching earlier, but Jamie had some lions, and we are looking for elephants. And we've had a bit of rain last night, as we've been chatting about, and I want to find a nice little point again. Actually, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to change my route plan completely. The elephants don't want to be found. Let's go to quarantine, a lovely open area, and let's try and get a quick photo of the open area. Remember, we are trying to document the changes over the next few days after we've had this rain. We're looking forward to seeing all the grass pop up. So let's go and do that, because it's getting dark quite quickly. We're not too far away. I just probably need to put my foot down on the accelerator a little bit as this light disappears. But Charles, I hope you have been enjoying the show, and I hope you continue watching us. We don't just do safaris in the afternoon, we actually do safaris bright and early in the morning. So you're welcome to have a look on our website and and see, and just see when our times are. Right, you know who I'm going to bump into now? Madam Jamie is just up ahead, and she's probably going to try and avoid me before I coax her out the vehicle and make her do another dance. And if you were watching as well this morning, I didn't have to change any tires, I didn't have to wash any vehicles, and I actually didn't even make her a cup of tea. I feel quite bad, but there she is. You can see her. And you can also see the rain covers now, everybody. This is some of the equipment we have to use in order to try and protect the vehicles. Hello, Jamie, and hello, birthday boy David. Should we sing happy birthday quickly? Let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. And you, Eggsy, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear David. Happy birthday to you. Now, you can all probably hear the horrible sound of my voice, and Jamie got away from it this time. We hope you're having a good day. Yes, did you see that? That's a good coach. So Jamie said, I don't know if you heard that even David, Downpour Dave, who's the master at predicting weather, even sang happy birthday to himself. No shame there. We'll see you later. Right, everybody, we're going to head to quarantine, like I said now. So it's always nice to just stop for a little chat and just see what's happening. And something that's quite funny is spending birthdays in the bush. Now, I've done quite a few birthdays in the bush. I recently just had a birthday in the bush, and it sort of doesn't really feel like any other day because we're often always working. But luckily, we are surrounded by the most amazing people. The people that we work with become our family. We live with them 24/7, and we often live with each other for 6 weeks at a time. So it's really nice to sort of share those special days with your bush families. Okay, we're almost at quarantine. Now we need to pick our spot, everybody. Like I said, we're going to try and find a tree of some sort that we can use as a marker. We can take the same photo every single day. Almost there, just a few minutes away. and still no elephants. But I think I'm going to give up on the elephants. And if they want to be seen, then they just need to walk out, or actually just step out in the road in front of me, and then I will view them. Okay, almost here. One last bump. Up we go. Woo. Okay, so I'm going to find a nice little spot. Need to do a bit of scouting when I get to the open area. I'm going to send you back to Jamie and maybe request that she also sings happy birthday, seeing as unfortunately you only heard my voice.
I think that's an absolutely lovely idea that Tayla's come up with. A brilliant way of almost time-lapsing the growth of the grass and the plants, and it's going to be absolutely spectacular to watch. And that, of course, is the joys of watching Safari Live and doing Safari Live, that you get to see the changes day after day and month after month out here in the African bush. Copy that. Thanks, Mike. Are you with them? Okay, copy that. There's one Birmingham just a little bit northwest of that as well, close to Philemon's cut line. They might be moving to him. Thank you. Okay, I think we're going to change our plans. Mike's just told me that one of the Birmingham boys and one of the lionesses have left the kill and are now moving away from the rest of the pride. And I'm just wondering, it might be worth hanging out and seeing whether or not they pop out with that Birmingham boy. So let's actually go back in that direction. We'll just have a quick look and see whether or not they're on their way there. It might be interesting to see the interaction. And what could have happened with that Birmingham boy is that he just decided he wanted to go and re-find his buddy. Let's go and see. Sorry, I know you're all excited about the dams, and I am too. But this might be quite interesting. Okay, I don't know exactly where that kill is, but if they're wandering northwest, they must be going in the right direction. Let's just go and see. My suspicion, now that I'm sort of unfolding the mysteries of last night, is first of all that we just missed those kills by probably about half an hour or so. I think they happened just before it got light this morning. And that, I think, is why that lioness was separated from the rest of the group and why she went back to where she last had the pride hunting the buffalo and then started calling as she walked along the road. And she popped out not too far away from where we are now. So she must have killed the one that's on the northern side of our boundary. They ran on, killed that little buffalo that we were with the Birmingham boy, and the lionesses continued on and killed the one further to the south. And poor buffalo had a very bad night. Watch out, Impala. There are hunting lions. Well, not hunting lions. There are moving lions with very full bellies. Let's see. I think let's go a little bit further on. I think the sighting's just a bit... I'm trying to gauge from listening to the Game Drive channel when I heard people going past and when they arrived at the sighting. I'm trying to gauge average speed and distance and just how far away they would be. I think they're going to pop out here. Steer into the wind. Basically want to get there for the reunion, if that is indeed where they're off to. See the reunion between our Birmingham boy and the one that's on the move. while we head back and see whether or not they're on their way, Tayla has found a good spot for her vegetation monitoring survey. Let's head across and see which spot she has chosen.
It may not look like much, everybody, but this is the spot I've chosen. This is on quarantine, so it's quite close to home for us, but also it's nice and open. So take a screen capture very quickly of this setting that we have here. Right, I've heard the clicks, so I presume everybody's taken their screen capture. Now, Eggsy's going to zoom in onto the termite mound, and he's going to show a bit of grass in the surrounding, just so we can get a good spot. So we're going to do 2 spots here. There we go. Now, I would like you all to take another screen capture of that. Right, everybody got their screenshots? I'll hold it there for a few more moments. Fantastic. And now we're going to be comparing these images over the next few days, everybody. And hopefully we'll be able to see a nice difference as the new green grass starts to shoot through the wonderful fertilized soil that we now have after all this luscious rain. The wind is really bad out here again. We're now out in the open, and I heard some squirrels alarm calling quite close to Inger's, so that's where Jamie stays, and I just want to go and do a quick little drive around there and just see if we can't perhaps see anything. Now, I'll say it again, I do not trust squirrels. They alarm call for all sorts of different things. So not only would they alarm call for something like a leopard or a lion, even a hyena, but because they're so small in size, they're also alarm calling for birds of prey. So the different eagles that we get, lizard, buzzards, goshawks, you name it, as well as snakes. And this can obviously be quite deceiving. Even something like a serval, they'll alarm call for an African wildcat. So this is why I don't trust them. And then I've seen them just shouting for absolutely nothing. So let's just do a quick drive-by. You never know. Jamie has just fed through a little message, and Jamie says that these squirrels tend to alarm call all the time for absolutely no reason. But we're going to check, because could you imagine that squirrel was actually alarm calling for something like a leopard, and I decided to not go and have a look? I mean, how disappointing would that be? So we will just go and check, just to put my curious mind at ease. So you're gonna see a little bit of a fence just now, but don't worry, that is just where Jamie lives. And we're also going to see if she's left the gate open. She could have a few little visitors coming through this evening. We'll see that now. Oh, he's driving straight into the wind, everybody. I'm freezing again. Shouting. See, the gates are open, everybody. So maybe there's a leopard inside already cuddled up on Jamie's bed. We're going to take this next road down here to the left and just do a quick little loop through this block. We're probably going to even go past the Duma Dam just to have a look and just double check. I know that Karula quite likes this area, and she often walks these paths. So there's no harm in just poking our noses in to have a quick look-see. Right, everybody, the cloth is coming out to clean the screen. There we go, you can see it. It's been spitting the entire afternoon, so we need to just keep cleaning that. There we go, you can see. Now we're nice and clean again. Right, I haven't seen anything yet, and I haven't heard anything else alarm calling, but there's some really big animal pathways going through here that if I was a leopard, I'd probably walk on those and avoid all the thorns. And I can slowly also hear a few of the birds giving off their last call for the evening, but unfortunately I don't think you at home watching the show will be able to hear that too well this evening, just because the amount of wind that is gusting. See if I can find a nice big animal pathway for you to have a look at as well. Just Just check here. No, no good examples just yet. Oh, that's on the right one. Have a look at this. Let me go forward so you can actually see how it bends. Oh, there's the off button. There it is. Can you see that animal pathway that goes just down there? Can you see it? It almost looks like it's a road. So it's just to the right there. You see? See how it comes out and it joins on the road and then it goes off on its own way. So the animals don't just use the roadways that we have plowed sort of as we've gone through the bush, but they also make their own. And normally big animal pathways like that will actually lead straight to a water source. So that one probably crosses the road and then carries on and goes towards Jumapan. But there'll be a number of different animal pathways. You'll get ones that the mice will use, so they may have even smaller little pathways than the one we just saw. We've got a number of them going through, weaving in and out of this area, and it's quite nice during the winter months because you can actually see them. In summer, when it is so dense, there's lots and lots of leaves on all the different tree species, which obviously makes it quite difficult to see things like that. Okay, we're on our way to the dam, and I still haven't seen anything, and I still haven't heard anybody else alarm calling. Radio. So possibly that squirrel was shouting for nothing. These are my suspicions. But I hope that squirrel is going to prove me wrong, because we haven't seen a leopard since yesterday. We only saw Karula and her 2 cubs very briefly before she was chased away by some baboons. But I suspect as well that as the weather warms up, the spotted cats shall come out and present themselves to us. Hello, Debbie. Debbie! Oh, hang on. we're in the mud. It felt like I had a flat tire for a second, but the mud just grabbed me and pulled me in. So Debbie says, if we can't find a leopard, can we find a leopard tortoise? Debbie, I would love to see a leopard tortoise. Normally just after rain you will see a lot of leopard tortoises, and even the hinge-back tortoises are coming out, but I think it is a little bit too chilly for them. Normally you start to see reptiles coming out in temperatures hotter than about 21 degrees Celsius. So hopefully as we warm up, we're going to start seeing them. Right, everyone? I'm still searching around here for whatever the squirrel was shouting at, and just checking the cam. Let's go back to Jamie, who has got a little surprise for you.
We are back with our Birmingham boy and his somewhat swollen face. And surprise, surprise, we were indeed correct. And look who has joined the party. Keep looking. Keep going. There we go. I think I should have bought the coffee, Dave. The pair has joined them, but do I detect a slightly frosty atmosphere? A little bit of brotherly discord in the ranks. Or maybe I'm just cold. I'm projecting onto our poor lions. There is a considerable distance between them. I have no idea which lioness we are with at this point. One of the Nkuhumas. Presumably either Amber Eyes or the young female. I'm going to guess at the younger female, but I'm not 100% sure. Probably one of the females without the cubs. Otherwise she wouldn't have accompanied the Birmingham boy. Do we have love in the air as well? Is this a honeymoon couple? Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to give it a few moments to see. Now, I was always going to return to our Birmingham boy because I wanted to see whether or not he's going to roar tonight, and I think we could be in for a treat this evening. There's at least 2 Birmingham boys in this area. I'm not sure where the other 2 are. I don't think there's any more of them. And the Nkuhumas, and they've got multiple kills. There is a chance that they are going to celebrate their good fortune this evening by giving us a demonstration of their incredible vocal abilities. And that is always incredible. Having lions roar right next to the vehicle. I was chatting to Jerry, who is the task of going through some of the footage for various reasons. and she happened upon the moment of the lion hunt where we had the live buffalo kill not too long ago. Now, we kept going black screen in that particular lion hunt. We were on Wendy, and Wendy's signal wasn't quite fully. It was a very tricky patch, to be fair to Wendy, not to insult her. It's always been a bad area. And we kept disappearing off your screens, jumping back to Brent. And there was one moment where Jeandre and I were desperately, desperately trying to get out of that particular area and back around. What we didn't realize is that 2 Birmingham males had come and joined the sort of commotion. And it was so thick that we couldn't actually see anything. I could barely see where I was going. We were ducking and diving. Jeandre had sort of clutching the camera to try and protect it. And all of a sudden, right next to the vehicle, there was a Birmingham boy roaring full. Oh. What was that all about? Oh, what did you do, boy? Oh. He's giving off such disgruntled noises. Interesting. She might be coming into estrus. She might not be there just yet. And I think she treated his advance with some disdain. It's just some growling now. Sure, everybody's head's shot up. Well, that was actually... We ran the punchline of my storylines. Very inconsiderate. Sorry, my story was going to be, because I really thought those lines were just going to lie there. My story was going to be that the lion started roaring right next to us, and both Jeandre and myself jumped out of our skins. There's no... If you listen to the recording, you can hear us both afterwards, the nervous laughter. Because a surprise lion roar right next to you is enough to make you jump. And Jerry happened to be listening to this with headphones on, and she just was clicking through folders, and she clicked on that particular one and started out of this massive lion roar. And she told me that she got a very big fright in final control. So there you go. That was the end of that tale. Our lion also sat up when he heard that growling. I think he's going to feel particularly protective of his own personal space right now, making sure that nobody's coming forward. Oh, shame, his nose even looks skew, doesn't it? Really doesn't look comfortable at all. Oh well, the scars bear testament to their dominance over this area. Okay, a peaceful scene, but definitely worth. I know I said we would leave and do a tour of the dams. That will have to wait, because now that it is getting towards dark and the end of the sunset safari, and the fact that we can stay here because there are no cubs, so we can spotlight this group, means that we could be in store for some amazing, amazing sound effects. I'm hoping they're going to do just that, and it is also cold tonight. That will mean, A, that the sound travels further, and B, it means that they will be more energetic. Right, well, with the wind gusting around, you might be wondering what happened to our tent setup. Now, Tayla and I had an interesting experience today, along with Eggsy, in terms of attempting to write it. Let's go and have a look at what's happening to our poor tent on quarantine.
This tent may look familiar to some of you. Probably a little bit more sturdy the last time that you saw it. Now, this is the tent where we actually do some segments in here. We've got all sorts of artifacts. We've got bones, we've got insects, we've got a microscope. We even use Ronald the Rover. Now, if you go down, you can see that some of the bones have found their way out of the tent. And myself, Jamie, and Eggsy had one job this afternoon, and that was to go and see if the tent survived the hurricane-like wind that we had last night, and as you can see, it's flapping about quite a bit. Now, we did go and try and repair it. We took all the pegs out of the ground and we tried to put them back in, but we realized that the ground was obviously quite soft after the rain, and the pegs kept coming out. So we dug some of the bones out and we thought that we could use them as an anchor. They obviously have not worked very well. You can see that the tent is flapping quite a bit, so we'll need to go back and try and fix that a little bit later, but it's still there. Everything inside is dry, so the tent is actually doing its job. Let's just hope it doesn't fly away this evening. Now, I'm going to carry on down the road and just see if we can see any animals, anything really. Maybe some zebra, maybe some impala, possibly a little night critter that's maybe coming out a little bit early because the clouds have come over and it's quite dark. I'm almost going to have to put my spotlight on it. It's getting quite dark this evening. So much earlier today, like probably middle of the day, I did see some impala and zebra around here. So I'm going to try and follow up and see if they are perhaps still in the area. So just bear with me for a few minutes while we... Oh, never mind. You don't have to bear with me for anything. I found them. That was quick. So they've moved quite a way from where I saw them earlier today, and they're all in there. I'm just trying to find a nice little gap, everybody. Always searching for gaps. Oh, we've got... let's do those ones on the termite mound. Can you see the little foal? Well, it's not a tiny foal, but it's probably about a year old now. From last year, most likely, up on the termite mound, munching away on all that lovely, delicious, brown, dry grass. I'm doing spoonerisms, which I believe are Jamie's favorite. Munching away, nom nom nom, getting as much sort of sustenance as it can. Normally we see kudu going up onto the tops of termite mounds, and that in fact is for a completely different reason. They'll normally head on top of the mounds and scout the area and use it sort of as a vantage point. This kudu, this is not a kudu, this zebra, as you can see, is just taking advantage of all the grass that everybody seems to have missed. That looks delicious. And you can see this foal is quite fluffy in comparison to the adults. Now, when these foals are born, they are even a lot fluffier than what this one is actually. So I think this little one is losing its juvenile coat. And normally they are fluffier than the adults, just to give them an extra layer of warmth to help them through those chilly nights like tonight. All sorts of birds shouting away, doing their last call of the evening to restart that clock. Lovely zebras. We've been lucky. We've actually seen quite a few different species of animals today, considering the revolting wind, though it has settled down quite nicely. Or we're just in a patch of dense thicket, and you can see the zebra obviously quite happy as well. There's very little tree movement. So some of you probably thinking that I made up this wind, but I promise you, as soon as we move out to an open area again, I will lose my hat a few times, like I have already done today. And off they go into the thicket. You're not going to be kind and come out to us. How disappointing. No, you coming? Come out. They're slowly coming, everybody. Smooth Honey wants to know if a zebra ever have twins. Smooth Honey, I have never seen a zebra with twins before. However, it is quite common in horses, and with a zebra being in the equus family, the same as horses, I think they can indeed have twins. I don't think it's impossible. We often see a lot of twins when it comes to impala. I've seen many sets of twins from impala ewes. But it would be quite nice to see a zebra with two foals. Wouldn't that be quite amazing? Hard work for Mom though. She has to produce twice as much milk and eat twice as much food to be able to look after those little ones. there's a whole group of zebra that I don't know if you can see. They're just a little bit further to the right. Maybe if I go a little bit further forward, you might get a better glance. You can just see their bums through there. There we go. There they are. All the stripy bums. My favorite. Actually, my favorite side of the animals is the bum. Just munching away, and that's all they do. Eat, sleep, eat and sleep. And then occasionally the males will come through and obviously mate with all the females so we can have lovely little foals at the end of the year. But they are disappearing into some thick bush, as we are now going to disappear away from the zebra, I'm afraid. Let's see what else we can find. I think it could be dark enough for me to bring out my spotlight. Let's see, my fingers are a little bit frozen, so it's hard to press the button. There we go. Oh, wow, look at that. Maybe I can even put some lights on. Should we put some lights on? Let's press all the buttons in the vehicle and see what they do. Hopefully that it's not a self-detonating button, otherwise I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble. And there's a bit of a sprinkle again. Let's go down here. We've got babblers shouting in the distance. Hello, impala. I'm not going to put my spotlight on the impala, everybody, just because, unfortunately, their eyes do not work the same way that the nocturnal species, so the nighttime animals, do. So it's important that we keep that light off of their eyes, just because it can cause a bit of disorientation, and sometimes it can take up to 45 minutes for the diurnal, so the daytime animals' eyes, to readjust to that night light. We'll keep it off them. That's still alright, we can see them okay. Have a look at this impala ram here. I think he's munching on an acacia. Look how nicely he's got his head stretched up. There he is. No, it's not an acacia, everybody. It looks like, I can't even see it anymore because it is so dark. I can't make out what it is. What are you? Is it a buffalo thorn? Yes, it looks like maybe a buffalo thorn. Munching away. And that tree is armed with horrible spikes and thorns and things that we obviously don't like. And look how delicately he is pulling off all those leaves. Nibble, nibble, nibble. Get the little lips moving around, pulling off those leaves. Oh my goodness, you stuck your face right into that tree. That's very brave. I don't know if I'd be willing to do that. And he's got his eyes open. Now, normally when you see giraffe feeding on the thorny trees, which they quite often do, you actually see them close their eyes as they poke their heads into the tree, which is quite clever, because that way you're not going to get a thorn or a spike poke through your eyeball. I don't think that's what they want. And they've also got very thick eyelashes to help protect them too. So I don't know, and if I was this impala, I'd maybe be closing my eyes a little bit more, rather than run the risk of getting it stuck. Ooh, you got a bit of a fright. What scared you? No? The slightest thing, especially now as this light starts to fade, they become more and more a little nervous. Good evening, Christine. Christine wants to know if impala give birth seasonally or throughout the year. Now, Christine, they actually give birth at the end of the year. So normally just after the rains, or during the rainy season, in fact. So we should be expecting some impala lambs to arrive anywhere in the next 3 months or so. So even from the end of November, we could see a few start popping out, and otherwise they will go right through to about January, a few late ones maybe in February. It's not uncommon, but you can see that round belly that this female has got over here, so there's definitely a little lamb inside there, and not the lamb that goes bah. I'm talking about a young impala, or a baby impala, I should say. I think they've got a nice little spot here out of the wind. A few nice nutritious plants for them to nibble on. They're not having to eat the guarri trees, or the silver cluster leaves or anything like that. And that's where impala are quite lucky, is they don't just eat one type of vegetation. They are not just grazers, they are mixed feeders. So they feed on the leaves, as we've witnessed, and then they also go down and they eat the grass too. So they're able to eat a few things. I've even seen them nibbling on fruit, especially the marula fruit, which we will hopefully start to see around February, March, and then everybody eats the marula fruit, even us. And I keep saying this, I cannot wait to try marula beer. So you can actually make, from this marula fruit, you can make a beer. And it's quite simple. All you do is you ferment the fruit and you add water. Apparently it's quite nice. And everybody says it's like jet fuel though, so you've got to have it only in small quantities. And I wonder why no one has ever thought of actually making a commercial beer out of it. I think it could be quite a hit with anybody that comes to visit our wonderful country. Oh yes, so where's my spotlight? I forgot that I was using that because it's now dark. Stretchy cord, it's like I'm doing an exercise, everybody. We won't stretch it too much. So I'm going to be checking. I'm being very ambitious when I'm trying to look on the edges of the branches for things like chameleons, and even looking for something like a galago or a bush baby, as some of you may know them, I think is a bit cheeky because it's very cold this evening, and both of those creatures prefer the warmer weather. So I'm not sure what I'm looking for, but however, you see something like this. Let me just go back. I just want to show you this hole. You see that hole in the tree there? You have to go down a little bit. More. Warmer. Hey, there you go. Right on the money. So I'm just going to shine my light away. So a little hole like that would be a really good spot to find something like a bush baby. They will normally live inside the holes of trees. Even a bird, even something like a crested barbet, or those lovely yellow-billed hornbills that we saw this afternoon, would make use of a hole in the tree like this. So never stick your hand into something like that, because there could also be a snake or even a spider, maybe a button spider like what Jamie found the other morning. So it's good not to stick your face or your hands near it. But these are the things we are looking for as we're driving around and spotting, checking all the little crevices to see if there's any creatures that are possibly living in there. Right, everybody, while I carry on looking for anything really, let's see if Jamie has got an update for you.
No major changes here with our lions. I'm just patiently waiting to see whether or not they're going to roar for us. There was a little bit of growling earlier, and I'm not talking about with the female and the male. One of the injured Birmingham boy actually stood up. Hello, boy. Oh, it's the one with the split lip. So it just goes to show. But there was a little bit of disharmony. When the injured Birmingham boy got up and moved back towards the buffalo carcass, this one started rumbling at him. I wouldn't be surprised if these two have already come to blows over this female. It does happen, even with male lions in a coalition together. They do occasionally fight over access to the females, but they usually, I mentioned it before, as kind of pulling their punches. In other words, they don't go full force. Oh, this is going to be tricky now with this light. There's our Birmingham boy over there. The carcass is probably about 2 meters from him, off to the left. That's it there, but you won't be able to see it. I'm not repositioning for now because I actually want to, I don't really want to come between these two groups, and I just want to see how the situation plays out. And I do want to see whether or not they do decide to scrap or not, whether or not they do decide to roar. I'm going to go forward a little bit though. That's what I can do. I can actually see a good place that we can go, and that might help us out. Okay, let's pop that down for the moment and head forward. Let's think about this. My bright idea doesn't actually seem quite so bright when I realise there's a tree in the way. Okay, I know what we'll do. Come with us on a journey as we reposition to the other side of them. That's what we'll do. Hello, boy. I'm giving him quite a lot of space, this injured gentleman. He's not 100%. He's fine, but he's not feeling very well. Yeah, you've got a good view of him. Do you have a bad view of these two? Let's see. So I'm not directly between them. Yeah, it'll be okay for now, I think. Yeah. Let's have a look at what they're up to. I think everybody's feeling a bit exhausted after the hard work of last night, and you can hardly blame them. It's no small feat bringing down 3 buffalo. I'm not sure what the size of the other 2 was. Oh, rain. It's started to drizzle properly now. But luckily, with our rain covers, it takes more than a few drops of rain to send us scurrying for the shelter of home. Come on, lions. You've only got a limited time. Really interesting question from Sandy, which was, sorry, face full of rain, was whether or not she could control a false estrus to keep the males in the area so that they be more use in protecting the cubs, or around the cubs more to protect them. I don't think so, but that's a really, first of all, I don't think we know everything there is to know about lions. I've never read anything about that, and I don't think so, but it's not a bad suggestion. Lionesses are capable of the most amazing trickery physiologically. Females coming into false estrus when they're first part of a takeover, when there are new males in the area, just to make sure that they don't waste resources investing in a litter of cubs belonging to males that are not up to the job of being dominant. False estrus when they've just had cubs and there is a coalition takeover, and tricking the males into trying to mate with them and trying to fool them into thinking the cubs are theirs. I don't know what obviously they don't do that intentionally. I don't believe they do. I don't believe they have that level of planning, but their bodies are obviously capable, evolutionary-wise, of some amazing deceptions. I don't know. It's not a bad point. Probably not, but you never know. I think it was just that Amber Eyes and the young female haven't come into, or haven't managed to achieve the fertilization yet. So their mating attempts so far haven't been successful. Come on, lions. I'm really hoping they decide to roar. It would be so wonderful. It's been a while since I've heard a proper lion roar next to the vehicle. I might decide not to bother in this wind. Just blow away. Okay. Well, my choice of vehicle positioning was somewhat poor, I think. So let us try that again. Spread out between 2 disparate groups. I think I'm going to take these chaps rather than our poor injured boy. I'm going to let him just sleep in the corner there. He's probably not feeling great. His kill is right there. Now he's got a rival over here with a lady. I don't think... Okay, while I shuffle around and find us a good spot, let's head back across to Tayla.
I've still got nothing, everybody, and I am desperately searching for life out on this freezing cold summer's day, I suppose, or it should be summer, but it is icy cold like winter. And so far we've got nothing. Let me just check in between the bark over here on this knobthorn, just to make sure. You can see how the bark has lifted quite nicely off of this tree, so it could give us an opportunity to maybe shine in And just check in between the bar. Maybe you see something like, whoa! Oh my god! Sorry, everybody. Oh my goodness, I just had a nervous breakdown because the rain cover flew up and whacked me on the side of the head, but I didn't know what it was. But let's go back to the bark and just check. I can't see anything though, but sometimes if you look very carefully, you can see things like scorpions or lizards that are seeking shelter underneath underneath the flaking bark on this dead knobthorn tree. But alas, nothing here. Oh, my goodness, everybody, I've just had the scare of my life, and I hope you all enjoyed my little squeal over there. And I'm going to have to say goodbye to all of you. It has been another fantastic afternoon with you. Sorry it was a little bit quiet, but this is the bush, so I'm going to see you all bright and early tomorrow for hopefully a sunrise safari.
So we've got the countdown beginning, and hopefully the lions decide to roar before the end of the sunset safari. It was a gamble, but I'm hoping it's going to pay off. It's happened before, right at the end of a sunset safari, that the lions have given us a magnificent demonstration. We've got 4 minutes, lions, if you would be so kind. I tried putting my dash cover back on, but it blew straight into my face, as occurred with Tayla, so I've given up on that endeavour. It definitely didn't work. Very sleepy lions. And Gracie, it's always lovely to hear your questions and your comments. Gracie says that she is so happy for the rain and that the hippos will be happy once again. Gracie, I'm really happy too. I couldn't be more chuffed that it did decide to rain, and the hippos will be happy. Buffelshoek Dam has water, Treehouse Dam has water. All of the animals are so thrilled. And Gracie says happy birthday to Dave.
Thanks, Gracie.
There you go, Gracie. I think you made his day. You definitely made his day. I thank you very much to Gracie for her message to us. I woke up last night listening to the rain. It was the most incredible feeling. We knew it was coming, or we hoped it was coming, but to actually have the sound of the rain on the roof again was well and truly special. Up, hunkering down. And James, yes, that does mean that we can officially start calling Dave Downpour Dave, since he did indeed, of all the days of the year, well, not the year, of all the days in the rainy season, he picked the day in advance when it was going to rain. Well done, Downpour Dave. It's better than Dave the Dish, Dave. I think so too. I think Downpour Dave's an excellent name. The Downpour Dave, spot on. Well done, Dave. Don't know how you did it. I managed to be off by over a month, but we won't talk about that. We definitely won't talk about that ever again. At least I wasn't as pessimistic as Brent was. I think. Can't remember what he said now, actually. Okay, time is running out, lions. You've got less than 90 seconds, if you would be so kind. I think they've decided, nope, we are not standing up in this gale force wind. You must be mental. Don't you know it's raining? We're going to lie here quite happily. Thank you very much. 60 seconds, lions. Come on. Come on. No. Oh. Oh. Oh! No. It was a good try. Unfortunately, we are out of time to do our thank yous and farewells. So big thank you to Dave for his fantastic camera work, and of course a very big happy birthday to Dave, as well as to Rebecca and to Lou in final control, and Jerry of course working frantically behind the scenes. And I'd actually also like to say a very big thank you to Connor, and Alex, our tech team, who work exceptionally hard and actually keep the ball rolling out here. And so, the last and final thank you to all of you watching across the globe. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will catch up with you on the Sunrise Safari tomorrow. Bye-bye, everyone.